Cole Hamels, one of the best-known pitchers in modern baseball. His days in Philadelphia marked by a World Series MVP through the no-hitter just before arriving in Texas. And now with 2 more playoff runs under his belt, he's the experienced leader of this Rangers staff, and tonight needs to be the stopper in his 2017 debut. Welcome to Texas Rangers baseball, presented by AT&T. It is another perfect night for baseball in the Lone Star State. A little cooler tonight, but the fans are prepared and anxious to see a Rangers win. The boys in blue try to salvage one tonight at the series finale with the Cleveland Indians here from Globe Life Park. Great to be with you tonight, everybody. Welcome into the booth. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nikowski. It is game 3 of this series. Rangers in desperate need of a win. Want to try and get one. Well, they go to an experienced guy tonight in Cole Hamels.
Yeah, some good news here for Rangers fans. Not happy that the team is 0-2, but they have an ace in Cole Hamels going tonight. Yes, he is pitching game 3, but we know this about Cole Hamels. He has been an ace throughout his career, and this is exactly what the Rangers need right now as a starting pitcher to step up, stop the bleeding, and get this team their first win. You see what Cole Hamels has done throughout his career and where he ranks right now among active starters. One of the best the game has to offer.
Yeah, and he has done extraordinarily well with the Rangers. Rangers have enjoyed plenty of success behind him.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'll tell you the other thing real quick about Cole Hamels. You take a look at what he does in big situations, really for both of these guys. Danny Salazar, who's going for the Cleveland Indians, but also in Cole Hamels. These guys don't get nervous when there are runners on base. You take a look at these numbers right here from both of these guys, and thinking about the averages with runners in scoring position. Salazar at 186 this year has been, over the last 2 years, has been fantastic. Cole Hamels, 211. To give you an idea and put that in perspective, big league hitters usually with runners in scoring position hitting 258, but not against these guys.
All right, well, one thing, if you don't have runners in scoring position, you can still score in this ballpark, and we have seen it in the first 2 nights. Lots of home runs the first 2 evenings. Both pitchers will try and keep it in the yard tonight. Final game of our 3-game series. We got the starting lineups of the first pitch coming up. Southwest is brought to you by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. By Budweiser, not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Southwest, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Well, almost ready to go. This is how I remember getting ready for games when I used to play, for crying out loud. That's how you do it.
Splashing water on each other and some fun high fives, get the energy up. Hasn't exactly started the way, like you said, the Rangers have wanted, but certainly the players seem to be in good spirits.
All right, a little cooler tonight, as we mentioned. Temperatures in the upper 60s. Still plenty of wind tonight, as has been the case now all 3 nights as we check in for our first time tonight with Emily Jones.
Yeah, guys, I spoke to Cole Hamels about learning to adjust his pitching style, adjust to his body as he gets further along in his career. And he said actually it's kind of quite the opposite. He's not trying to scale anything back or even let his body adapt or let himself adapt to his body. He wants to try to push himself more physically each year. He said this is the perfect time to see what you can get out of your body, to see if you can push yourself further than you did the season before. He tried to do that in spring training, said he'll continue to try to do that here into the regular season, but he's not trying to scale back by any extent. He's trying to push himself a little bit further, regardless of how long he's been in this game, guys.
I'll tell you what, Emily, it's pretty impressive. You think about a guy like Cole Hamels and the experience that he has, the innings that he has, and they start to add up, and the body, without a doubt, will start to wear down, and you have to kind of listen to your body a little bit. But it sounds like for Cole Hamels, at least up until this point, he's not feeling like he has to back down at all, despite the fact that he's got better than 2,200 innings at the big league level, but still feels really good. You'll hear it. We heard Adrian Beltre talking about it, right? Changing that your workload in between what you're doing and the working out, everything else that's going on as you try to take care of your body. But Cole Hamels sounds like he is still in incredible shape. And probably the big thing is he's poised to give us another 200-plus inning season, something he's done so well over the course of his career.
And that'll be a huge key to this season for both Cole Hamels and the Rangers. He has been a workhorse. 33 years old. Now let's take a look at the lineup he'll see tonight from the Cleveland Indians. And Cleveland off to a fantastic start at 2-0. And they will start it off as they have the previous two nights with really the guy who has been the most difficult out. I feel like we haven't talked about him quite as much, but Carlos Santana has been the Rangers' killer in this series. 4 for 8 so far out of that leadoff spot and acting as the DH.
Yeah, Carlos Santana has been a thorn in the side already here for the Texas Rangers. We saw him jumping ship early with the leadoff home run a night ago. And he is our TXU Energy power player to watch. Carlos Santana. We'll see ultimately how Cole Hamels will work on handling him. Be somebody, one pitcher can shut down Carlos Santana.
Yeah, there you go. The TXU Energy power player to watch. There's an idea.
Well, this is really interesting to me. You look at how Carlos Santana over last season and a little bit of this season, how he's done against left-handed pitching. Fastball location. What are you going to see tonight? You're going to see Cole Hamels trying to paint down and away at 154, the batting average against. And every once in a while, probably up and in as well. Just 167 on fastballs from lefties for Carlos Santana.
Well, that first fastball way up for ball one. 68 degrees here at game time tonight. Finds corner and the count is 1-1. Well, you see the numbers last year for Santana. A little below 260 overall, but great power numbers and very intriguing leadoff guy. He has certainly fit the bill in this series. With the obviously 4 for 8 is going to do the job, but he's also drawn a couple of walks. Hasn't struck out. He's been on at a 600 clip in this series, but he's given them power up at the top as well. Hamels gets him to bang one down to third. Gallo is right there, and there is one out in tonight's game. We talked about Santana leading things off. Edwin Encarnacion at the heart of the order had a huge home run here opening night to tie the game. Jose Ramirez has been pretty stout there, batting 5th. All those switch hitters and right-handers in there, so everything from the right side tonight against Cole Hamels.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily an advantage for the Cleveland Indians. We just saw right there good fastball location and good use of the changeup from Cole Hamels. If he can own the outside part of the plate like we saw him do against Carlos Santana, these guys will be playing right into his hands.
Numbers last year for Hamels: 15 wins, 5 losses, and once again over 200 innings pitched. Like clockwork with him. This is 12th year in the big leagues, and if you've been following the Rangers at all during the Cactus League season and now the very early portion of the regular season, you've probably heard that Hamels has thrown 200 or more innings for 7 years in a row. Well, the reality is the year that preceded that streak, he threw 180 or 193 innings in that year, and the year prior to that 227. And none of that, we should point out, takes into account all those postseason innings he has thrown as well. So I mean, he has a lot of mileage on that left arm.
He's been an absolute horse, and he really hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. I know there were some struggles last year toward the end of the year, but still physically Cole Hamels is getting it done year in and year out.
And he gets Lindor looking. Francisco Lindor down on strikes. 2 away.
It was a great pitch here from Cole Hamels, but more importantly for me, the way he set it up before. There were some pitches inside up. They decided to go down and in, and really catching Francisco Lindor off guard. A lot of times you see that fastball up and in, and so right-handed hitter think, okay, now he's going to go away. They start to lean out over the plate a little bit, but instead Cole Hamels flips the script with a good fastball in.
His first offering a little outside to Brandon Guyer, who moves up to 3rd in the order tonight for the Indians. Guyer, whose specialty is hitting left-handed pitching. It's 2-0. Yesterday Guyer got on the lineup but was batting 6th. Had a hit his first time up, reached on an error his second time up. Hamels finds the strike zone. It's 2-1.
When you think about Brandon Guyer batting third tonight here, obviously right in the middle of the order. He just pounded lefties last year and a little bit of what we've seen this year so far. 333 batting average with 6 home runs against southpaws.
Fouls this one off. Count 2-2. So Hamels got Santana to roll out, strikes out Lindor, and now certainly bring him a great deal of joy to take care of Guyer here and have to deal with Edwin Encarnacion leading off the next inning. Here's a 2-2. And it's popped foul again over to that first base side.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense for tonight, delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. A little bit of a change this evening. We see Nomar Mazara now in left field. Shin-Soo Choo getting his first opportunity in right field. And we've talked about this a lot already through the first 2 games. A lot of changes, not inconsistency, but just a lot of tools and options in that outfield for Jeff Bannister.
Guyer looks this one into left field and ranging in to make the play. Nomar Mazara, and it completes a perfect top of the first inning. And now the Rangers come to bat. A 1-2-3 top of the first inning. So Cole Hamels does his job. And now let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for the Rangers. 0-2 to start the season. Delino DeShields in that leadoff spot. The Choo, Mazara, Napoli. Rougned Odor, the guy who's had the big series, 3 for 8 with the 2 home runs on opening night. Joey Gallo in there again, batting 8th, and Elvis Andrus at the bottom of the order tonight for Jeff Bannister. The other new thing there is Carlos Gomez bats 6th tonight, displaced from that leadoff spot by this man, Delino DeShields.
It's good to see Delino getting his first start after the great spring. What was it, 13 for 13, right? Perfect on his 14 for 14 on his stolen bases. Just had a really strong spring, and I got to imagine he's been pretty anxious to get his first start.
Misses that fastball. The count 0-2, his first at bat of the regular season. We knew he would be in the lineup today. The question was, would he be in the outfield or not? And he strikes out on 3 pitches to start the bottom of the first.
Take a look at Danny Salazar, the opposing pitcher today for the Cleveland Indians. And he missed a little bit of time. That's why there's only those 25 starts. He was able to pitch a little bit in the postseason, but missed a significant amount of time. That's why the innings and the starts were down. But you look at those strikeouts, very similar to Carlos Carrasco, who we saw last night, jumping out off the screen, 161 in those 137 in the third innings. We saw the first one of the night. Talked to Terry Francona before the game, and he said he is very excited about what he saw from Danny Salazar in spring training. Really feels like he is ready and poised to have a pretty big season.
Well, it was 1-0 to Shin-Soo Choo, taken for a strike. Choo, a couple of hits and 8 at bats in this series. Has not yet walked. That will be a part of his game before it's all said and done. 2-1 the count. And part of the reason today that we see DeShields as the DH is that Jeff Bannister wanted Choo to get out there and get engaged, as he said, stay engaged in the game in the outfield. Feels like that's a part of Choo's game that may help get him started at the plate a little bit.
I think it's important, asking Shin-Soo Choo to go in and be a full-time DH and just completely take him out of playing defense. I think there's risk there, and for the exact reason that Jeff Bannister talked about.
Ooh. Oh, we have our first disagreement of the night. Choo thought that was ball 4.
And when Shin-Soo Choo argues balls and strikes, or didn't argue, but just kind of shows his disapproval for that call, you could take his word for it, right? We know he knows the strike zone as good as anybody in Major League Baseball. That is one of his huge strengths.
There's ball 4. So he gets his first walk. And the Rangers have their first base runner of the night.
Take a look now at the Indians defense here, what they'll be throwing out there tonight. We had talked about Brandon Guyer, of course, being in there against the lefty. Austin Jackson getting an opportunity as well. We saw him start last night. He will be in center, and the rookie Diaz at third, and also Roberto Perez behind home plate, who became a big part of this team a year ago. He has been the backup, but when Yan Gomes went down, played a really big role in what they did in the postseason, and he is well known for his excellent receiving, much like Jonathan Lucroy, very good behind the plate and giving home plate umpires good looks at pitches. Stealing pitches, really.
Well, yeah, that's a big part of the game. We've seen both backup catchers in this series, both recently signed contract extensions with their clubs. It tells you a little bit about the value of catching in this game. Mazara swings, hammers one out to right field. Almonte will look up, and it is gone. Another upper deck shot to right for the Rangers. Mazara's first of the year. And it's 2-0 Texas.
We talked about it in the open and how good Nomar Mazara has looked so far, how he has spread the field with his hits, a couple of extra base hits. We hadn't seen the long ball yet in his first at bat. He answers that. Look at this, right over the heart of the plate and up, and he knew it right away. Now, the only person that might not be impressed with that home run is Joey Gallo, because Joey Gallo got him by about 10 more rows last night. But I think everybody else pretty impressed with what Nomar Mazara just did. I mean, you could say something to him right there. Like, hey, you get jammed a little bit on that one, or did you not get your arms extended? Like, how come that didn't go as far as? Like, you see him shaking. He said, "Nope, not as far as mine."
0-2 now, Mike Napoli. Napoli 1 for 6 in the series with a big RBI double last night. That RBI double is, to this moment, the only run the Rangers have scored on anything other than a home run.
Mike Napoli hit that ball about halfway up the wall too, and just a little bit more launch angle, and that's a home run. It would have been a different ball game last night, but good to see him get that first one and crush that pitch.
Napoli goes down swinging, 2 out here in the first inning. And Danny Salazar with a couple of strikeouts already. He'll deal with Rougned Odor now. Now, Rugi's had a nice series. We mentioned it earlier, a couple of home runs. It is cooler today. You could chalk this up to, you know, good relationships, the family feel down in that dugout, or maybe it's just chilly.
It's all about that team chemistry and comfortable hugs in the dugout, keeping each other warm.
Elvis is a beach, man. There's a strike to Rougned Odor. Yep, here you see it, what Rougned did last year, and off to another great start this year in that respect. There's a home run ball just a moment ago from Nomar Mazara. There you go. You could almost see home plate from there.
An incredible shot. It has been a lot of fun to watch what the Rangers have done, not just the home runs. Carlos Gomez, the 461-foot home run that we saw in the diamond level, and then Joey Gallo, of course, as deep as he went. Nomar Mazara. I mean, not just home runs, but fun home runs to watch that are just absolute bombs.
Odor waits on a 1-2 from Salazar, and that will even things up. Base is empty for Rugi, and the 2-2, that one right in there. A changeup, strike 3 called, and Salazar strikes out the side. That's nice and all, but Nomar Mazara has put the Rangers on the board. He went big fly. Rangers lead at 2-0. Leading 2-0. Nomar Mazara with the 2-run shot in the bottom of the first. And Cole Hamels, after a 1-2-3 top of the first, goes to work against Edwin Encarnacion. All right, our Kubota Power Stats brought to you by Kubota. 4th highest swing and miss percentage in the American League last year for Cole Hamels.
A lot of that for Cole Hamels. His ability to get those swings and misses, setting up the fastball, getting guys to chase. That changeup down and away, especially right-handed hitters. You see it right there. And you see a swing and a miss right on cue.
Yeah. Put that stat up there again.
I think he knew. He was part of our production meeting, right? He snuck in. He knew, like, I got it. Encarnacion, third pitch of the at-bat. I'm in.
This one fouled off. The count stays 1-2 on Encarnacion. And he would figure to be, if you were to come into this game not knowing a whole lot, pick up the lineup card, look at it and say, okay, he's probably the guy you circle on the lineup card. You got to be worried about this big fella right here. 30 home runs the last 5 years. 2-2 the count. And if you look at the head-to-head numbers for these Indians hitters against Cole Hamels, well, that it bears it out. Encarnacion 7 for 20 against Hamels with a couple of home runs. 2-2. Got him swinging. Well, a heater, and it's the second strikeout of the night for Hamels.
Cole Hamels back-to-back fastballs where he climbs the ladder. Encarnacion laid off one, and this was unintentional. Jonathan Lucroy wanted that fastball down and in the same way that they struck out Francisco Lindor back in the first inning. Ball got away from him a little bit, but then when Encarnacion went chasing anyway, they'll take it.
So now Jose Ramirez. Ramirez batting fifth, switch hitter. Hits from that right side. You see he had the home run opening night. He's also walked a couple of times. That's a pretty healthy cut.
You should watch Jonathan Lucroy as he sets up for pitches. These last couple especially really gets down nice and low. Pitchers love that, especially when you're a fastball changeup guy and you know you're trying to keep the ball below the zone. Look where his glove is and how close it is to the ground, but also how still it is too. That's another big thing. We know Jonathan Lucroy is solid behind the plate. We know how good he is receiving, throwing, everything else that he does so well, but also the setups as well. Very impressive to watch. Right at the knees, glove is not moving a lot, gives his pitcher a target to look at for a while. Some guys, that glove will move too much, they'll be a little bit late getting it up, but not Jonathan Lucroy as he calls for this fastball in.
1-2 pitch, and that one lined up the middle and caught by Odor. 2 away. Good positioning. Had Odor shaded up the middle, and he's able to take one away from Jose Ramirez.
Well, it is all about that positioning and knowing what pitch the pitcher is getting ready to throw. Cole Hamels looked like he hit his spot right here, so it looked like a pretty good pitch. So credit Jose Ramirez for getting the barrel for the ball, but he got a man there.
Odor got all the attention opening night for the 2 home runs, but he's made some real nice defensive plays in this series. And there's a strike to the rookie Yandy Diaz. He's played a nice second base these first couple of days. Hamels with some pretty good tempo in these early innings and pumps in another one. It's 0-2. Diaz, when we were downstairs today talking to some of the Indians brass, boy, there were some glowing comments about Yandy Diaz, and then that conundrum of, well, what are we going to do when Kipnis comes back, moves Jose Ramirez back to third. They like this kid a lot, but it's kind of difficult to find a spot to put everybody.
Well, I think they're also very unsure of what his best position is defensively. His hitting is ahead of his glove is probably maybe the best way to describe it. He was a second baseman in Cuba. They think maybe potentially first base long term could be the better position for him. They'll figure that out, because I will tell you this, the bat plays, and when the bat plays, they'll find a place to put you.
2-2. Ooh, and he strikes out swinging. The tag applied, the toss down to first. Maybe he didn't get the tag on him, but it completes the strikeout. 3 so far for Cole Hamels. It's Dollar Dog night at Globe Life Park. And the Rangers lead it 2-0.
Rangers leading the Cleveland Indians by a score of 2-0. And tonight's cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Check this out. Almost 30% of all MLB players this year were born out of the United States, but the Texas Rangers have the most foreign-born players on their opening roster, with 14, including 5 of those in the starting lineup tonight.
That's where the Rangers have really distinguished themselves as a franchise over the last decade and a half, 2 decades. Heck, maybe you can go a little further than that, but they have always done such a very good job in international recruitment, scouting. As Carlos Gomez today batting 6th. Takes a strike to count 1-2.
This is one of the great things about Carlos Gomez and how you can use him. The same thing happened when he was in Milwaukee. We've seen him leading off already the first 2 games. He can do that. You can put him 3rd. You can put him 4th. Tonight, he serves well in the 6th spot for the Rangers.
2-2 the count. Yeah, part of it tonight was the leadoff spot is a really good spot for Delino DeShields. It's a great spot for Carlos Gomez. He loves it too. But part of it was, well, all right, if we're going to put Delino in the leadoff spot, where do you put Carlos Gomez? And the thinking was, well, maybe some protection for Rougned Odor in the heart of the order would help him as well. There's Delino.
You have all kinds of options if you're the Rangers, and I think we'll see those options get exercised over the course of the year. The other thing you can do with Delino is you can put him 9th, right? Make him kind of back-to-back leadoff men where if he is batting 9th and then Carlos Gomez is batting 1st. I think that's certainly something that is feasible. We're actually seeing that tonight with Elvis Andrus. That was a conversation you and I have had in the past. Elvis so far has been batting 8th, but tonight 9th. It's not a demotion by any means, but it's that high on base percentage that he put together last year, which kind of accomplishes that same feat. It's like having a second leadoff man when you put him in front of the actual leadoff man.
Payoff pitch to Gomez, and he will earn another. Now really lengthens that lineup and clumps some speed together ahead of those big hitters in the middle of the order. So here again, we've seen this several times with Carlos Gomez. This is now, as of this moment, an 8-pitch at bat, and he earns a walk. Quality AB for Carlos Gomez. He's on to start the 2nd, and we check in again with Emily Jones.
Well, just to follow up a little bit about what you guys were talking about, guys moving up and down in the lineup. I spoke with Elvis about it before today's game. He said, look, we've learned over the last couple of years with Jeff Bannister and the way that this coaching staff does things that we have to be ready to adjust. And it's not our job to expect to be in the same position in the lineup every day. It's our job to perform based on where we are in that lineup and what the game calls us to do. So nobody in that clubhouse is expecting to be in the same spot every day.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. And that is, look, that is more and more the case with all teams these days. But there was, I mean, I feel like we're not very far removed from those days where you'd ask a manager and it's pat response would be like, well, listen, a guy of that stature, he needs to know when he comes in every day, he's batting 3rd, he's batting cleanup. But those days are gone.
They are, and it's really important, like Emily was just saying, that the guys are on board with it. I think that's a big sales pitch, but also a big key to making something like that work.
Lucroy with a bouncer to short. Lindor to 2nd, 1, and Ramirez able to turn the double play. 6-4-3, and that erases that leadoff walk.
Especially for young players, right? When they first get to the big leagues, that's a conversation with them a lot of times is, okay, you want to get them consistent at bats. That's number one, and any really goes for any player. But the other thing is, it is kind of nice, or it used to be thought that way, that you know what, you're batting 6th, you're batting 7th, whatever it is, and you're kind of doing that consistently, and you can come in and you're not guessing and wondering, okay, am I hitting leadoff today? Am I hitting 9th? Do I need to change my approach? And it's kind of out the window. I think organizations just want you to be the hitter that you are, regardless of where you're hitting in the lineup.
There's your 9th place hitter tonight. And he has handled it very well as Joey Gallo finds himself in a hole here, 0-2. Gallo, couple of hits yesterday, 2 for 7, the massive home run. He's also walked in this series. And that's been the part of the game that we've really seen the dramatic change one year to the next. He has become a more selective hitter. Started after it, but holds up. 2-2. Salazar trying to come in on him, but he wouldn't chase. So a full count, and again now a deeper at bat for Joey Gallo.
Interesting too, because that was a changeup at 87 miles an hour, but actually cut in toward the bat of Joey Gallo. I'm pretty sure that was unintentional by Salazar.
3-2, and he got him swinging. So 4 strikeouts in the early innings for Danny Salazar, but the Rangers working with a 2-0 lead. First post-game fireworks show will be this Friday, presented by TXU Energy. The A's taking on the Rangers in a 7:05 game. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
Cole Hamels now getting ready to start his 3rd inning of work. We'll see 3 right-handed hitters, and digging into some of the work that he did a year ago, which was a pretty strong year from him. The curveball, as much as the fastball and changeup, has been pretty effective for Cole Hamels against the Reds.
Jackson with a little pop-up handled by Jonathan Lucroy. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 3rd inning.
Jonathan Lucroy made this look a lot easier than it was. Off the bat, I thought that ball was heading for the stands as he made his way over. It's just so tricky because as a catcher, you're popping up, got a kind of a weird angle on the ball. You're going toward that fence and you're trying to be able to time it or slow yourself down. And right on the corner especially, right? Jonathan Lucroy doesn't know, am I about to hit this bar? Actually, do I have some room to go around it? But he played it perfectly and made a nice catch.
So 1 quick out. And now Roberto Perez. Now Perez's first time in 2017 behind the plate in his first at bat. See the numbers last year for him. And he'll take a strike. It's 1-1.
Missed a little bit of time as well last year to Roberto Perez. May 1st to July 18th. He had right thumb surgery. So between him and Yan Gomes, the Cleveland Indians were really battling to keep their catchers healthy and on the field. But when he was there, I mentioned how good he is at receiving and how much they love his defense. But he came up big for a guy that is not known for the big bat. Roberto Perez had a night to remember. Game 1 of the World Series when he hit 2 home runs.
Bounces this one right to Elvis Andrus. And with plenty of time. And the first 8 in this game been retired as we check in with John Radigan on our first Chevy game break. Yeah, thanks, John. Here we are now with the first series of the season around Major League Baseball. Mostly wrapping up as Abraham Almonte steps in here. And the great part at this time of year is all the great pitching matchups and just discovering what all of these teams have as we get going in 2017. 1-1 the count now on Almonte.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a fun part of the first week of the season, is because most teams can lay out their rotations exactly the way that they want to. So we get a lot of really good matchups. Or we had, of course, that Yu Darvish, Corey Kluber matchup. That was a good one. This is a very good one tonight with Cole Hamels and Danny Salazar. 2 of the stronger starting pitchers in the American League. Obviously, Cole's been doing it for a long time. Danny Salazar just a couple of years into his career.
Well, another strikeout for Cole Hamels. Needs just 9 pitches to get through the 3rd. 3 strikeouts for him, and after 2.5, Rangers leading it 2-0. Cole Hamels. Rangers on top. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Elvis Andrus for the first time tonight. Andrus, then back to the top of the order. Delano DeShields and Shin-Soo Choo, and this goes right to what we were talking about an inning or 2 ago. Here's Andrus, 9th in the order, leading off an inning, and then gives way to Delano DeShields. That's some speed to start this thing, and a base hit up the middle for Andrus. Well, you love the way that works out.
Without a doubt. I mean, the reality is that a leadoff hitter is only guaranteed to lead off the game once, or lead off an inning once, right? And that's to start the game. And so I love the idea of Elvis Andrus batting 9th. Like I said, backing him up against a leadoff hitter as he takes That 0-1 breaking pitch right back up the middle. Squares it up, and he continues to swing the bat well so far here early in 2017.
So great speed down at first. Here's DeShields now. Struck out in the first inning, and the speed of Elvis Andrus not lost as a concept on starting pitcher Danny Salazar. A modest lead at the moment for Elvis. And DeShields bunting. Right over to the third base side. Play made by Diaz, and they get Delino, but Andrus now out there in scoring position.
Well, I love the idea here of Delino DeShields trying to bunt for a base hit. This isn't a sacrifice, but also testing Diaz. We've talked about him. We know he can hit. The Indians are not quite sure about his defense, especially his throwing. So Delino putting a little bit of pressure on him, forcing him to make a good play. He ends up being out just by about a step and a half.
So now I know what you're saying. But when you're Delino, that is the advantage of trying to bunt for a hit there, is he still gets credit tonight for a sacrifice. In this case, they scored it a sacrifice.
Without a doubt. I think that he's thinking base hit is the idea. Bunt for a base hit, which I like that idea in that situation. Why not? Worst case scenario, if you get it down, it turns into an accidental sacrifice. You got a runner at second base with one out.
Now Chu. And he takes ball one.
And I think it's important to test Diaz. Based on what we know about him, make him make the play. If what we're hearing is true, well, make him prove otherwise. And Delino DeShields bunting is the perfect guy to test him.
And it was interesting, too, on that play because, look, he made it. Great. But there was a moment of miscommunication or hesitancy there on both his part and Danny Salazar's part. And for just a moment, if you were an Indians fan, you're probably holding your breath thinking, uh-oh, because that one looked like it might be just confusing enough.
Sure. I mean, again, Diaz, of course, now filling in. So him and Carlos Carrasco haven't played together very much. And you can do PFPs all day long in spring training. But, you know, when the big lights are on and it actually matters and heart rates are going a little bit faster, yeah, there's an opportunity for a lack of communication. And we almost saw it there.
Andrus actually staying fairly close to the bag out there at second base. The infield is shaded in such a way they're playing Chu to pull the ball, and the byproduct of that is Lindor's right by the second base bag, which can be kind of helpful in these spots too. Keeps Elvis just a tad closer, and there's a strike to Chu. It's 1-2.
You're absolutely right. Not only that, it's not just, you know, keeping him closer, but also the secondary lead right after Elvis Andrus realizes and is confident that Danny Salazar is pitching to home plate. You're always working on that good secondary lead, so good score on a base hit. Well, you can't get off too far because there's an opportunity for a back pick, so Elvis has to be extremely careful.
Now Salazar gives him a good look. Chu fouls him off. Stays 1-2. Well, the Rangers in this series with runners in scoring position, they have gone 2 for 11. And if they're going to win a lot of games this summer, that's a number that we'll need to improve.
No, it absolutely matters. I don't think it's necessarily a situation where, you know, the Rangers are tight. Just hasn't happened for them. The balls haven't fallen through yet. But like you said, over time, the way this club swings the bats, that number will dramatically improve.
Of course, if you just keep hitting home runs,
it's an easy way to do it.
Then it won't matter a whole lot either. Here's a guy who did it already tonight. A big boy blast back in the first inning for Nomar Mazara. Good at bat going for Shin-Soo Choo. Trying to get Andrus to the plate. The 2-2 pitch, and this one sent up the middle. Right there on top of it, though, is Lindor, and they retire Choo. Andrus gets to third, but they're 2 away.
Well, so Nomar Mazara now comes back up. Let's take a look at our AT&T high-speed replay, and it was a big bomb by Nomar Mazara. His first of the year. He knew it as soon as he hit it, as he's skipping out of the box. About 8 or 9 rows deep there up in the second level. Big home run, a great way. And a good time for Nomar Mazara to get that first one to give Cole Hamels a 2-0 lead. There's a little conference here now. Danny Salazar and Roberto Perez. A little conversation with his pitching coach. Mickey Callaway used to be a former Ranger farmhand. I played with actually Mickey when we were both together in this organization. He's done an excellent job since taking over here the last couple of years with Terry Francona as their pitching coach. But now the conversation right there, and for me, we're always guessing, but kind of have an idea of what they may be talking about. Okay, they know what happened last time with Nomar Mazara, so they'll review that. But the other thing is also maybe being careful if they feel like for Danny Salazar he's a better matchup against Mike Napoli, who's up next. And maybe just a little bit careful here with Nomar Mazara.
Well, misses wildly in with ball 1. They can see, where do you throw him a fastball? You better really find the right spot.
Down and away, up and in against right-handed pitchers, and that's not a surprise. Right? We saw Carlos Santana versus lefties, which was completely the opposite. It is kind of pitching 101, where you want to get that fastball down and away, and then if you're going to throw it in, make sure you throw it up to try to get under a hitter's hands.
1-1 the count to Mazara. Look, the Indians haven't had a lot of success slowing him down in this series. 5 for 9. 2 doubles, a home run. Andrews well off that line, or rather bag down there at third.
I don't want to cut Mickey Callaway short either, by the way. Not just a farmhand. He did play in the big leagues here with the Texas Rangers back in 2003 and 2004. Pitched 10 games over that time, made 6 starts.
One from Salazar, and it's fouled off for strike 2. Well, 2 runs came in back in the first inning on the Mazara blast, and a chance to convert another one here. You see what a big year last year for Nomar Mazara. Came up at 20 years old, ended up leading All-American League rookie in hits, the 20 home runs, and just a countenance and a style that absolutely belies his age. 1-2 pitch. Gone out to center field. On the run for it is Jackson, and he'll track it down. So Rangers leave a man at third base. We've played 3. It's 2-0. Has provided them with nothing but excellence since he has been here. This is only his second full year with the team. The numbers have been, well, they've exceeded expectations.
Without a doubt, he's been excellent in this Texas Rangers uniform. And you go back to the acquisition of Cole Hamels from the Philadelphia Phillies, and John Daniels and company have to be extremely happy with what they have gotten so far out of the big lefty.
Well, they went through the order in order first time through, and this time Santana rips one into left field. First base runner of the night for the Indians. And wouldn't you know, it'd be Carlos Santana. My goodness.
Not surprising, as Carlos Santana has been red hot in this series, and you see Elvis Andrus try to go full extension right there. Could not get there in time as that ball was hit pretty hard. Great effort, though, of course, by Elvis.
So Hamels for the first time tonight from the stretch. And he gets Lindor to wave right through it. So I was listening a little bit to the pregame show tonight, and I thought Pudge made a really interesting point. He said with Delano DeShields, he's like, we need to go back and research now the history of the DH. Has there ever been a faster DH than Delano DeShields? And Pudge suggesting probably not, probably never.
You think Ricky had to have some DH time in him, right?
Well, he might have. 1 strike pitch to Lindor. And this one hit well out to left field. Mazara going back, and he'll leap, but that one off his glove. Santana had to stop at second base. And the first 2 men on here in the 4th inning.
This ball was pretty well struck by Francisco Lindor. We've got to look here. Nomar Mazara giving everything he had. The line drives that are right at you are the toughest to read. But I'll tell you what, he looked like he had a beat on it and saw it pretty well. He timed his leap and almost went past this ball. Looked like that ball actually ended up finishing underneath his glove.
Yeah, it looked like it got him on the thumb, inside of the thumb.
Might have got caught in between a little bit. And of course, it'll go down as a base hit. And the reason that is because he left his feet. And for me, it's a golden rule. You almost see it across the board, whether you dive, whether you jump. If your feet are not on the ground when you miss a ball, it's always going to go down as a base hit.
Well, I am ashamed of you, and I'm really worried about you. You're a former pitcher, man. That's an error.
I'm speaking the truth. That went down as a hit, though. They didn't call it.
I know.
Listen, if your feet are in the air, I've seen it, man. I've seen it enough times. I've been frustrated by it on the other end as well, and you're kind of hoping to get a call that goes your way. If your feet are in the air, they will never call an error on it. Never.
That's a catch that's got to be made. I pop up on the infield. It should be an infield fly. There's the signal, and it is the infield fly. Lindor will get credit for the putout.
Hey fans, make sure you head out to the ballpark this Saturday when the first 15,000 fans 14 and older will take home a TXU Energy Rangers lightweight jacket. Enjoy spring baseball in style as the Rangers take on the Oakland Athletics. Get your tickets for April 8th at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
I said it was a little chilly earlier tonight. Yeah, folks are wrapped up.
So you got to take advantage of it while you can, right? You got the great Texas Rangers gear. You got the sweatshirts. You got the jackets.
Right.
I mean, you can only use them so.
No doubt.
Small window here in Arlington to wear those jackets.
Yeah, trot those babies out. Well, here's Edwin Encarnacion, and this is not how you would lay out the plan. You don't want him up there with men on base, and he's got two out there at the moment. Hamill struck him out in the second inning. It is 1-1. Well, it is a beautiful night, albeit a bit cooler here. Dave Raymond, C.J. Nikowski, Emily Jones.
My sunburn in that picture? What happened there?
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Been on the golf course a little bit, hanging out by the pool. What do you got going there?
I'm just not photogenic, buddies. No two ways about it. No getting around it. You're afraid to Photoshop that a little bit, fellas. I mean, hook the new guy up. I mean, come on.
They did.
A little after powder. Let's go.
1-2 the count on Encarnacion. It's all right.
I look really happy there, though.
You're a jolly old elf.
Definitely Santa red in the face.
1-2. And it's in the dirt.
Interesting night here watching Cole Hamels, and as well as he has pitched, 7 swings and misses so far, which has been a problem so far for Rangers starting pitching. Yu Darvish, of all people, did not get very many. Martin Perez did not either in game 2. But 5 of those 7 swings and misses from Hamels have come on changeups, right? And that is his game. We talked about it, getting guys out in front, maybe in fastball counts or when they're defensive with 2 strikes. He's done an excellent job of locating that pitch, keeping it down, and getting these right-handed hitters to swing through it.
2-2. A little bit up. Full count now.
That was the same pitch Edwin struck out on in the last at-bat, and kind of the same scenario where Cole Hamels was trying to go in. Jonathan Lucroy wanted that pitch down and in, ended up getting elevated by mistake, but it was a strikeout last time.
Good efficiency by inning. Number 50 for the night, forthcoming. And a little tapper left side of the infield. Andrews has only one option, and that is to go ahead and get Encarnacion. So 6-3 put out. Santana now is at third, and Lindor goes to second base.
Well, this was a changeup and a really nice pitch by Cole Hamels in that count. Elvis Andrews, knowing that he did not have a play anywhere else. Pitchers have that, everybody in the infield, they have that internal clock. They know exactly how much time they have. They don't even necessarily have to look. They know the runners that are on base. Does an excellent job of making a smart decision and not trying to make more of that play, turn some kind of crazy double play or force the out at second base. Just take what is given, and Elvis Andrews does exactly that.
All right, so now with 2 outs in the inning. Interesting, they got everybody in there. A little conversation out at the mound, all the infielders. Well, what is that all about? What would they be discussing?
It's a good question. It might be with Jose Ramirez with the open base potentially. You got to remember this: Mike Napoli knows these guys as good as anybody, and so spending a full year with the Cleveland Indians, there may be something he knows about Jose Ramirez in this situation that he just wanted to pass along to Cole Hamels. So it could be the conversation of, listen, when Jose is up with runners in scoring position, I've seen this from him. This is one of those spots where, listen, you got the open base and he gets really aggressive. You can get him to chase X pitch, whatever it may be. And that is the value of having a guy like Mike Napoli, who is obviously a former catcher, doesn't catch anymore, but certainly knows everybody on this Indians team inside and out.
A 1-1 to count on Ramirez. There's the rookie Yandy Diaz waiting on deck. Guy who has just 2 big league games under his belt. That one just missed the corner, and it's 2-1.
Good looking pitch here from Cole Hamels, and one that he would love to get the call on. Yes, that was just off the plate, but when you get those umpires that are going to give you a little bit, watch Jonathan Lucroy here. I'll tell you what, man, he didn't move his glove too far outside. Cole Hamels would have loved to have gotten that call.
Now the 2-1 pitch, and this one shot out into right field, base hit. Gets Santana home. Here comes Lindor. Throw cut off, and they will have the rundown of Ramirez. And that is the final out of the inning. But 2-run score. 2-run single by Jose Ramirez. Got a little greedy, but he sends us to the bottom of the 4th in a 2-2 game.
Up 2-2, and let's take a quick look at this last play. And if you're wondering if Jose Ramirez made a mistake here on the base pass, I'll tell you that he did not. And the reason that is because he understands, as fast as Francisco Lindor is, that maybe there would have been a play at the plate, and so he takes a big turn and kind of coaxes Mike Napoli into cutting this ball off to make sure that Francisco Lindor can score. He stays in the rundown long enough to guarantee that run comes across the plate. And a lot of times you'll hear base runners and coaches talking about trading an out for a run. And I think in that case right there for the Cleveland Indians, just playing it safe and making sure they got that second run across the plate, and they'll trade the out just to make sure that it happened.
Well, they pick up 2 in the top of the 4th inning and make this one a new game as Napoli works ahead in the count here, 2-0. Struck out in the 1st inning. And took a nice healthy rip there. Napoli with just the 1 hit, the RBI double last night in the 9th inning. It brought the Rangers to within a run. They watch a strike 2. Today batting cleanup. Salazar's 2-2 got him with that changeup. For Salazar now, that is his 5th strikeout tonight.
This is a good looking changeup here in a 2-2 count, trying to go below the zone. Look at the depth on that pitch, though. And even though Roberto Perez wanted it away, as you see him kind of turning the glove the other way to get that ball back, as long as it's down like that and below the zone, you're pretty safe. And an excellent 0-2 pitch by Danny Salazar.
So he takes care of Napoli, and now Rougned Odor, who struck out looking in the 4th inning. He hits one right through the right side of the infield. That's a base hit. 4th hit of the series for Rougned Odor. Rangers have a runner on in the 4th inning.
Rougned Odor is not going to wait around right now as he takes that first pitch off speed and goes hacking right away. He sees what Danny Salazar is doing, and when he gets 2 strikes, he is finishing off hitters the way that he has Mike Napoli twice already tonight. Rougned Odor in his first at bat, he's hunting for a strike early, regardless of whether it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch, and does a nice job on that base hit.
So runner on now for Carlos Gomez. Carlos with a great at bat of the 2nd inning, worked a walk. He has 2 walks against 3 strikeouts so far in this series. I mean, it's as if he underwent this almost immediate renaissance last year when when he showed up here in August. I mean, just a very controlled, albeit powerful hitter. Whereas last year, we saw him several series against the Houston Astros. He would take a swing and he would end up 4 or 5 steps across the plate in foul territory almost every time. Hat flying off, the whole thing.
I think there's something to be said for change of scenery, hearing some different voices as well, different coaching staff, maybe putting something in your ear that makes a little bit of sense. It just wasn't happening for Carlos Gomez with the Houston Astros, and I'm not going to say he was at a crossroads in his career, because I don't think he was necessarily there yet, but he had his struggles, also dealt with some injuries while he was with the Astros. And then, you know, when you get released and all of a sudden, you know, you kind of get down a little bit and you get a new opportunity, it's refreshing, it's energizing, and it just worked out perfect here for Carlos Gomez. And certainly some great news that he decided to come back again this year, as we talked about a bunch. Some bigger financial opportunities out there that he turned down so that he could be here.
Checks a swing, that one gets away, and Lindor will hold first. But Gomez, the one thing that he has talked about a lot too, he sings the praises of Anthony Iapoce and Justin Mayshore and everything they have done for him. Mayshore spent time with him down in the Dominican this last offseason. Talked to him a lot about keeping his weight back. Feels like he's letting the ball travel a little bit more and just staying on it. You know, able to stay right on the ball every time, and a little more controlled swing as a result. And did he go around? No.
Well, I think that speaks to what you were just saying a little bit earlier when you saw him in that Astro uniform and taking those big hacks and seeming like he was not under control and the balance wasn't quite there. And you know, all it takes, like I said, it's just that one coach that says the right thing, that just clicks and kind of makes sense and gets you right back on track. And I think what happens as well, what we saw with Carlos, when you do get that coach, you become very loyal to that guy, and you're very appreciative of what he has shown you. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact of why he's wearing this uniform again.
Swings 3-1, but misses the throw down to second. They get Odor. Second out of the inning. 2-4 caught stealing, and it just didn't look like Rougned got a real good jump on Salazar.
No, he didn't. And Daniel Salazar somewhat quick to the plate here, but the big difference is the high fastball, which is much easier to handle for a catcher. If he's going to ask you for any pitch, he's going to ask for the high fastball. Now, I don't think that was a hit and run. Now, we saw him peeking in early on right away the whole time, which sometimes would indicate that it might be. When you're stealing a base, you're usually going to peek in a little bit later than that. So the fact that Rougned Odor was looking in that early might have been that it was a hit and run, but 3-1 count. I don't want Carlos Gomez swinging at a pitch that he doesn't like. So I don't know if there was a missed sign or if it was just a straight steal and Odor was looking in a little bit longer than maybe your normal base runner would.
So full count. Gomez still battling, and he chases strike 3. Good heater from Salazar, racks up another strikeout, and we're through 4 tonight. These two teams tied at 2. Salazar going to his weapon all night tonight, and that's been McKay. Line for both teams. Time for our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Cole Hamels using that strikeout.
Cole Hamels has thrown the ball well tonight. They finally got to him. The Indians did in the 4th inning. As you see, Edwin Encarnacion chasing the fastball. Diaz going for that changeup. Almonte doing the same thing. It's been 7 swings and misses so far tonight for Cole Hamels. 5 of those coming on the changeup, which has been very good. Been pounding the strike zone as well, which certainly is extremely important. That has been something that Jeff Bannister has talked about. He has not been thrilled with the walks that so far this team has doled out, but none so far here for Cole Hamels, as he has thrown 66% strikes, which is slightly above league average. Around 62-63% is where the league will come in.
Well, he gets to 6, 7, and 8 hitters in this 5th inning. Goes 2-0 on Yandy Diaz. Diaz struck out in the 2nd inning. And he hits one sharply up the middle. That's a base hit. So the Indians have their lead man on in the 5th inning. They did not get a runner on at all in the first 3 innings. They got 3 hits in the 4th. Now this single, so that's second time through the order. They are 4 for 6 against Hamels.
And I tell you what, too, they've hit some good pitches, and that was a 2-0 fastball that caught a lot of the play. Cole Hamels is going to go right at Yandy Diaz in that situation, make him earn it. He did. But even going back to the at-bat before that, that finished off the 4th inning. It's actually a really good pitch to Jose Ramirez. I thought we saw the fastball before that just missed maybe an inch or two off the plate. The next one was right on the corner. So I think we're seeing some of these guys get a little bit more comfortable out over the plate. Would not surprise me at all.
That one gets away from Napoli. Diaz racing to second, but he'll hold. These two guys tangled up by first base.
Let's watch this throw here. It looked like it was a little bit up the line toward Diaz, and it was. And Mike Napoli, as he went to reach for it, ended up banging into Diaz. Now, what was so strange about that on Diaz's part was that he slid back into the bag feet first. You don't see that every day. It's usually the guys are diving in, you know, hand first, head first, and they're safe. So that's probably what even caught Mike Napoli off guard, because if Diaz dives back into first like we pretty much see 99% of the time, Mike Napoli very easily catches that ball. But because it was a feet first slide and he was still kind of standing up, we end up seeing the collision and it ends up going down as an E1.
Now the look at a bunt by Jackson.
Watch this right here. See, I mean, he didn't really slide. He just kind of lunged and put that left foot in there. And I got to believe that caught Mike Napoli by surprise, but there's nothing he can do in that situation anyway.
You know, a lot of confusion on that play. Should I slide? Should I go in standing up? The 1-0 bounce up the middle again. Odor with the backhand, and there's your first out of the inning. Diaz, though, over to third. Hey, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, they go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. That's weekdays, 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central, only on FS1. Well, there's Diaz. Cuban immigrant and young man, 23 years old. Boy, they spoke very highly of him today. Trey Francona, Brad Mills. And here is a big swing by Roberto Perez. That's going to be enough to get Diaz to the plate. Mazzara hauls in the second out of the inning, but a sac fly gives the Indians their first lead of the game.
The Rangers had brought the infield in with the idea of hoping to cut that run off if the ball was on the ground. Roberto Perez knew that, and first pitch that he saw that he felt like he could get under, he went hacking, and it was a lazy fly ball, but in a situation where you have a runner at third base, it ends up turning into a run producing out.
So now Almonte, he struck out in the third inning. And he watches ball one. He's been a very productive part of the program for Cleveland in this series. The bottom couple spots in the order have been really tough on the Rangers. Yeah, even just a moment ago there, Roberto Perez getting an RBI out of the 8-hole, and that's been a big story in this thing. I'm talking to Francona today, and Brad Mills, his bench coach. The enthusiasm, the excitement for the 2017 season, palpable, I would say, down there.
Without a doubt, he likes his team a lot, and it's funny listening to Terry Francona. He undersold the offense a year ago. Told you about that early on, and I said to him, "Your club looks pretty good. You got to be pretty excited." He said, "Yeah, you know, we're getting there." He's like, "But I'll be honest with you, a little spring training, I was a little bit worried," and I was thinking, "Man, you know, you can't be worried about it. You got a great rotation. Your bullpen's deeper than it was." This is how managers think, though. Never satisfied.
Handled by Elvis Andrus on that chopper up the middle, and it puts an end to the inning. But the Indians scratch out a run, their first time lead tonight. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Texas Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. One-run game, bottom of the fifth inning. Jonathan Lucroy 0 for 1 tonight, and he takes a strike from Danny Salazar. Bounced into a double play back in the second. Lucroy still looking for his first hit of the 2017 season. There's a hard hit ground ball through the right side, smothered at second base by Ramirez. But he can't get the throw off. So Lucroy with an infield hit.
Right on time, right? These guys are just syncing with the broadcast. You said looking for his first hit. There it is. Talked about Cole Hamels and the swing and miss on the changeup. Now, Jonathan Lucroy got jammed a little bit here, but because of the shift, he's able to beat this ball out, hit it just hard enough. Ramirez made a heck of an effort to try to get to that ball, but absolutely no chance, and makes the smart decision of not trying to throw that baseball.
So base runner now for Joey Gallo, who struck out in the second, 0 for 1. There's a big swing. Not a whole lot on the left side of the infield. Quite obviously, the scouting report is that Gallo will try to pull the ball, and so they position 3 infielders on the right side against him.
It really is amazing when you see those shifts and how much room is on the left side. And then to see right here, looking for a pitch away, and it was a fastball as well. That's always the thing that kind of gets me, right? I mean, look where Diaz is walking right now and how much room is over there, but yet they want a fastball away. Right? So Joey Gallo was swinging the bat well, lets the ball travel. He's got all that room on the left side. Just an average ground ball, right? Just a little ground ball off to the left side. It's going to be probably at least a single and likely a double because of the way that the shift is right now.
Lucroy, not a huge lead at first, and the 1-1 pitch way in. 2-1 on Gallo.
But I will tell you this now, Joey Gallo for me has kind of spoiled us because of what he did last night.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it every time. Like, I'm kind of anticipating, like, man, that was awesome. Entertain us again. I want to see that frequently, not just once in a while.
All right, then. The 2-1. That'll even it up. 2-2 the count on Gallo. Oh, sweet.
Just in time. Got to get that button.
Get ourselves
Hey, how you doing?
Dressed up here in the booth.
Yep.
Hey, we get caught off guard. Well, when he hit that one yesterday, we joked, not really joked, we thought it legitimately might hit that roof out there in right field. Well, talked to Jeff Bannister today, said the same thing. He's like, we're in the doubt. We thought that thing was going to hit the roof.
Now it's just a matter of time. Like I said, I think we're all expecting it to happen at least once before Joey Gallo's career comes to an end.
Yep, there it is. That's the target. Right up there.
That's reasonable.
That shiny.
I don't think it's asking for too much. If he can go down the line, I'm all right if he goes down the line. Doesn't have to be in the gap necessarily, but we'll take it down the line. I think we all want to hear that sound at least once. He absolutely is capable of doing it. I think against a good, 98, 99 mile an hour fastball up top might be his best chance.
Good candidate out on the mound right now. 3-2. And he draws a walk. Love it. His second of the series. Time for a Chevy game break. Where's John Radigan? Wow, yeah. Thanks, John. That Jameson Taillon, special arm out of the Woodlands High School, north of Houston. How about Big Bartolo? 6 innings, 6 Ks.
It's
a new
incredible.
uni.
It puts all of us in our 40s to shame. Bartolo and I are right around the same age, and career started around the same time. I feel like I haven't played a decade, and this guy is still getting it done. It's unbelievable. Just refuses to give in, and what's probably the most fascinating part about him is he does it with all fastballs. It's over 80% fastballs that he throws.
Andrews pops this one up, heading into the seats. Strike one. Whoa. Made the catch, caught a seat. Elvis had a hit in the third inning. In fact, he's now 3 for 7 in this series. And starting 2017, a lot like he finished 2016. What a year it was. 3.02 average. And what none of us realized was that he played the better part of last year with that sports hernia.
You just got to wonder if there's any part of the Rangers here that might be thinking sack bunt. If that were the case, just saw Elvis Andrus looking down and getting the signs at length before he stepped in the box. If it is the case, this would be a hard bunt to third base. It's kind of the goal when you have first and second and nobody out. We saw him swinging first pitch, which means most likely he is not bunting here, but I got to believe it's in the back of Jeff Bannister's mind.
Just a little bit outside, and the count 1-1. No indication there.
The other part of that too is we saw first the Jonathan Lucroy base hit. Didn't hit it hard, but it's a base hit nonetheless. And then the walk of Joey Gallo. So you also have a guy that's on the ropes a little bit. You don't want to necessarily let him off the hook and give him an out either. I think that's the other part of this is, we see less bunting going on, and I think the idea of giving a guy who may be struggling a little bit, not struggling, but starting to struggle maybe just a little bit. Maybe there's a crack there. You don't want to give him an out, especially with the swing and miss stuff that he has.
Infield hit for Lucroy, a walk to Gallo, and here comes Roberto Perez. Interesting. So some indecision with Elvis Andrus, and you'd understand, man, on that Cleveland side with Elvis up there, if you would think, well, maybe we should be just a little bit more careful. Elvis Andrus has destroyed the Indians in his career, more so than any other hitter in the American League.
Well, I'll tell you this too real quick. So the conversation there also is probably lending itself to what Danny Salazar wants to do, what feels good, and then what does the scouting report say? Because Roberto Perez knows what he wants to do here, and sometimes those two things conflict with each other, and that's usually when you end up having those meetings on the mound.
All right, the 1-1. And Andrews shoots it down the right side, foul and out of play.
Danny Salazar could be feeling great about, let's just say it's his changeup. We've seen some pretty good ones tonight, and he's not afraid to throw it to a righty. But Roberto Perez also knows that, just kind of using this as an example. Well, Elvis has been good on off-speed pitches. It's not the right pitch in this situation. Do you go with your strengths, or do you go with what the scouting report says? And that is a constant battle. It's something that is always ongoing between pitchers and catchers. More often than not, you prefer the guy pitch to his strengths and what he is most comfortable doing.
We're given a couple of the changeups we've seen tonight. If I were Roberto Perez, I'd be putting those fingers down, because there are times when that thing looks unhittable. First and second for Andrews. So the pitch. We'll do it again.
There it was right there.
And when we see guys doing the multiple signs like that, obviously, man out at second base, you can't just put down two or whatever. The guys will pick that up pretty clearly. I know there are a lot of different tricks. Are you good at picking out what might actually be going on here?
You usually just have to see probably about 3 or 4 pitches throughout one at bat to get a pretty good idea. Generally, the old adage was second sign, shake first, but there's certainly a lot of different variables and different ways to use it.
And that was a fastball.
Especially if you think there's a team that's peaking and maybe really paying close attention to what you're doing there. Let's just say you believe that Jonathan Lucroy is paying close attention, is trying to pick up those signs and passing it on to other guys. Some guys will use outs +1. However many outs there are in the inning, add 1 to it. Nobody out right now, right? That would mean first sign. 0 + 1, 1, first sign. Then if you shake, as we just saw a shake there, a lot of times it's first. We'll see. We saw a shake 4. Let's see if it's a changeup.
Timeout asked for by Andrews, granted by our plate umpire Mike McGlinskey, who has the plate today. He was supposed to be at first base.
And then what happens when you get super paranoid? It's like I would actually go strikes +1, so that it would change throughout the at bat.
2-2 pitch. And that one fouled off.
You saw the change up there, and like I said, you saw him shake off whatever the first sign was. He started with a 4, Roberto Perez did, but he also finished with a 4. So it could also be, like I said, standard is shake first, but it also could have been shake last. Meaning the last sign I put down is the one that we're going to throw. I was a big fan. I like doing the strikes +1. Oh, well, no strikes, first sign, 1 strike, second sign, 2 strikes, third sign. Constantly changing.
I've talked to a lot of catchers about this. A lot of times their concern is that the pitcher can't keep track. 2-2. And there's a swing and a miss at the high fastball. So Andrews Down on strikes, 1 away in the inning. Let's check in again with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, Delano DeShields not bashful about how disappointed he was in his 2016 season. He said in the offseason he had to get his mind right. I asked him what that meant. He said, I basically locked myself in my room till my mind was right. It showed in spring training. He had a phenomenal spring, got the attention of everyone, earned a spot on this opening day roster, getting his first start at DH here tonight. And so that getting his mind right paired with a good spring training, the State Farm winning combination for Delano DeShields, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. It was something to behold. It's hard to get excited about too much at spring training. And by that I mean, of course, we don't put a whole lot of stock into it. And literally, sometimes it's hard to get excited at spring training.
Sure.
But what we saw from him was the type of stuff every day that had, I think, everybody kind of walking on air a little bit, because you thought, man, if you get that guy back with the great speed, the ability to get on base, whew, a big addition. Pops this one up near the plate. Roberto Perez makes the play, 2 away.
You had the conversation earlier about fast DHs, right? And talking about, what was it, who's it, Chin Chu that said it, or who was talking about?
Pudge.
Or Pudge, excuse me. Pudge that was saying in the pregame, Ricky Henderson had 133 starts.
Okay.
As a designated hitter. So.
Foot race, Ricky Henderson, Delano DeShields.
Prime?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that to Delano. I mean, I would assume listen, he's got world-class speed. We know that. We know how fast he is. Ricky Henderson, of course, the greatest of all time. He said it publicly.
He'll tell you.
Ask him. Which is accurate, though. I mean, listen, if you are, you can say it. I mean, who knows? They're both super fast. I know that. You and I together combined, all 4 of our legs couldn't beat either one of them.
Well, here's Chu, and he swings through a changeup for strike 1. So it was an infield hit and a walk. The inning was starting to look pretty good. Andrews, though, struck out. DeShields pops up on the first pitch. Now it's going to be up to Chu to get something out of this inning. Both Rangers' runs came in the first. And it's 0-2. And this has been something we've seen a couple of games now. Rangers get some runs early, and maybe even at times have that starter looking a little weak, a little vulnerable. I don't know if that's necessarily been the case today with Salazar, but when that Indian starter settles in, well, they've been tough. And Salazar, he's worked around a couple of base runners, but he has basically locked it down since that Mazzara homer. Did he go? They'll peel it. No. Mark Wigner down there at third.
Very interesting there from Roberto Perez for me. It was an 0-2 changeup, and he had his glove up high. And you would seem, okay, he's going to elevate a fastball here, right? This is not, what you're going to do. He started up high, and ended up, just before the pitch, he came down low. But I wonder if he was trying to get in Shin-Chu Chu's kind of peripheral vision a little bit, or if maybe Chu kind of sees that glove going up, get him thinking fastball, and then throw the changeup down low the way that they did. You see him tap the ground right there with his glove hand, saying, let's get this one down. Now let's see if he tries to play any trickery. He doesn't. Glove is down.
Base hit up the middle, but right there on top of it, Lindor goes to second, not in time, and the throw gets away from first. Here comes Lucroy, and we are tied up. And they're going to award home plate to Gallo because the ball got loose and up into the seats. 2 runs come in, and the Rangers back in front. How about that?
Wow, that is something you would never expect to see from Francisco Lindor. He had a bad read on what he could do with Joey Gallo going to second base. Check this out. It's a routine ground ball, hit pretty hard, but Lindor is there. He decides he's going to take it himself, but he ends up being too late. His timing was wrong. He actually looked to Ramirez, thinking Ramirez was going to be there. Then he realizes he's not going to beat Gallo, so he tries to hurry up and make a throw to first. And Edwin Encarnacion's not even on the bag because he's not anticipating a throw. He thinks the inning is probably over as Lindor started going to second base, off of his glove and into the stands. And here comes Mickey Callaway right now to come out and talk to Danny Salazar to kind of calm him down. But just a bad read there from Francisco Lindor, probably forgetting the fact that Jose Ramirez was in the hole, right? We saw where Lindor was, pretty much behind second base. Well, that means Ramirez is going to be shaded more toward first base and to right field. So there's going to be no flip. if he just forgot that and then tried to get in a foot race with Joey Gallo, but it's kind of a runaway train there from Francisco Lindor. Certainly not a play you would expect from the Gold Glover.
A fielder's choice for Chu, and then the E6 on Lindor. 2-run score. Rangers on top 4-3. And Lindor talking it over out there with Mike Winters, our crew chief. And Chu in scoring position now for Mazara, who's had the big series. First pitch from Salazar, right in there for a strike. Nomar, 2-run bomb in the first, 5 hits in the series.
What a bizarre play and a great break for the Texas Rangers right there.
One strike offering. It's 0-2.
That changeup is so good.
It is really ridiculous.
Salazar, he just continues to throw it up there, and it's one of those, especially to left-handed hitters, where they could be sitting on it, they could be anticipating it, and if he executes the way that he does, it's still very difficult to hit. I mean, listen, 0-1 count to a left-handed hitter. Nomar Mazara is probably anticipating that changeup, and he sees it up a little bit about thigh high, but the bottom just comes right out from under it. Really, really nice changeup from Salazar tonight.
Time taken. Well, Salazar has 7 strikeouts tonight, and 6 of those have come swinging, one of them looking. That changeup has been nearly untouchable. The 0-2. Way inside on Mazara. Rangers trying to salvage a win in this series. You gotta go back a little ways. Last time Rangers swept at home in an opening series. And you see the pitch count now starting to rise on Danny Salazar. This is a laborious 5th inning for him. The 1-2. And this ball hit hard into center field, base hit. Chu around third. Coming up with the ball, Jackson cut off at the mound, and Mazara will be in a rundown again. The run counts, but he's tagged out between first and second. The Rangers pick up another run. It's a 2-run lead. But perhaps the inning over a little prematurely. Mazara with another big hit and an RBI. 5-3 Rangers. Now 3 runs there in the 5th.
And check out Nomar Mazara here. We talked about Jose Ramirez earlier, exchanging an out for a run, but that's not the case here from Nomar Mazara. With 2 outs and a base hit, especially one that's not straight away to center field, your runner is going to score very easily, and Shin-Chu Chu does. The only way Nomar Mazara should be taking that turnaround first base is if, as the ball comes out of Jackson's hand, that he knows he missed the cutoff man, right? If that ball sails and he knows the cutoff man has absolutely no chance of getting it, then you try to take the extra base. That is not a situation where you're exchanging an out for a run, because Chu would have easily scored there. So I think that's probably a good at bat, but a base running mistake there, unfortunately, by Nomar Mazara.
Oh, listen, Jeff Bannister addressed that very same thing after last night's game. Similar type play for Nomar. Hit a single down into the right field corner, bobbled by Geyer, thought maybe he would go for 2. Jeff Bannister wants those guys being aggressive on the bases, wants them thinking about where they can sneak an extra base, but he doesn't want them to be reckless. And I think last night felt like that might have been a little bit reckless. And in this situation just a moment ago, probably a similar situation.
Yeah, and again, I will always go back to Nomar Mazara being 21 years old, which is incredible. He'll turn 22 on the 21st of this month, but still very young and early in his career.
High fly ball, right field. Chu takes care of it. 1 away. We were talking about Delano DeShields, whether or not he might be the fastest DH in the history of the position tonight. Carlos Santana, for a leadoff hitter. Might be one of the more plodding leadoff hitters of all time.
If not for the fact that Joe Mauer led off last year. I don't know, foot race.
Oh, man.
Now those guys I think you and I could get on our best day downhill.
It's time to bring back Battle of the Network Stars type competition and get these questions answered. There's Francisco Lindor. 1 for 2 tonight, had the single in the 4th inning and scored a run. Hamels, after a perfect first 3 innings, this ball hit hard out to left field and gone. Oh boy. Lindor shot that one out of here and makes it a 1-run game. I was going to say, after 3 perfect innings for Hamels to start, innings 4, 5, and now 6, they've been a lot more eventful.
Well, now we're seeing Cole Hamels for these Indians hitters. 3rd time around, a little bit more comfortable. It's an 0-1 count. Jonathan Lucroy wants this pitch down, cuts back over the plate a little bit. On a fastball, Cole Hamels knew it right away, just missing his location. We showed some of the stuff earlier against right-handed pitching. We showed it against Carlos Santana, but that down and away spot is where Cole Hamels wants to be. And if he doesn't get the run on the 2-seam fastball and it cuts back over the plate to a righty, where things can get a little bit dangerous, and that one unfortunately did exactly that, right over the middle of the plate.
Oh, Hamels working on Brandon Guyer, who is retired twice tonight. Trying to protect a 1-run lead in the 6th inning. Count evens at a ball and a strike now on Guyer, the 3rd place hitter for the Indians. We mentioned it yesterday with Guyer. We knew he'd be in the lineup yesterday against Martin Perez and suspected that would be the case again tonight against Hamels, just because he gobbles up left-handed pitching. And so they try to exploit his abilities every time they get a chance. Coming into this series, a .336 hitter, an OPS over 1,000 against lefties last year. And he pops this one up. Back of home plate, no play for Lucroy.
And check out that Fox tracks right there. Very interesting to watch. A little bit of a different approach here from Cole Hamels. We showed the home run earlier from Francisco Lindor in the last at bat. Cole struggling a little bit to keep that ball away, so he decides, at least so far through 4 pitches, that he's going to pound Brandon Guyer in, not give him that opportunity to get his hands extended if he feels like maybe he's getting a little bit more cut. We'll see now if it feels like he's setting him up to try to finish him away, or if he's going to continue to pound him in.
There goes with the breaking ball. Guyer stays alive, 2-2. Indians got a couple in the 4th inning, scratched out a run in the 5th, and now the home run by Francisco Lindor here in the 6th inning makes it a 5-4 game, and that one inside and got Guyer on the hip.
Following that breaking ball that he threw, he fouled off. Cole Hamels was trying to lock Brandon Guyer up, maybe get that called 3rd strike. We saw it earlier. This one just got away from him a little bit as he yanks it across, actually a cutter, as it gets inside right on the hip, left hip of Brandon Guyer.
So a base runner now for Edwin Encarnacion. Strikeout was in the 2nd inning. Hamels with 4 strikeouts today, all of them in the first 3 frames. And that breaking ball in the dirt, yeah, he went around, no doubt. Stu Sherwater, our first base umpire. Now he fills in tonight. Marty Foster, who was supposed to have the plate, a little under the weather. He's here. He's fine. He'll probably work wherever their next series is, but kind of a little shakeup in the crew as McClinsky now took over home plate duties tonight. And Sherwater called in to fill in down at first. 1-strike pitch. Bounces away from Lucroy. Runner going, and Lucroy's going to peel it and eat it. Not much you can do with that. Wild pitch puts Guyer at 2nd base.
Cole Hamels has done a very good job so far of handling Edwin Encarnacion with a lot of off-speed pitches. This was a changeup that was down a little bit further down and Jonathan Lucroy was anticipating. We talk about this a lot. I see him try to square up and lean forward and hoping that ball will stay in front of him, but unfortunately kicked off to his right.
So that takes the possibility of the ground ball double play out here, and the 1-1 off the plate. Jose Ramirez waits on deck. Indians 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight. They have found unique, sometimes unusual ways to score runs in this series, and it is 3-1 to a very dangerous hitter.
Cole Hamels is in a very difficult spot right here. You mentioned Encarnacion with the great hitter that he is in a very favorable count 3-1. Jose Ramirez, though, is sitting on deck. Had a really good at bat his last time against Cole Hamels with the base hit on a good pitch and also the line out, which he hit that ball pretty hard back in the second inning.
Pitch count at 80 now tonight for Hamels as he works here in the 6th inning. Oh, another look back at Geyer.
Interesting here because Brandon Geyer, without a doubt, is not stealing. I think the idea here for Cole Hamels is just to make sure that he's not getting off too far. Reading the door, you see him sitting there right behind second base.
Little low, and the first walk of the night allowed by Cole Hamels. And I bring that up because coming in, that was a large part of what we talked about this afternoon was, can he minimize the walks? Martin Perez yesterday walked 4 in 6 innings. On opening night, Yu Darvish walked 5 in 6 1/3. Here comes Doug Brocail. Hey, nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know, the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason as they team up for FS1's daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself. That's weekdays at 4 Central. Doug Brocail, second year as pitching coach with the Rangers, back to the dugout. Weird inning for Cole Hamels. You see his line, but a home run, a walk, a wild pitch, a hit batter this inning. That's a mixed bag.
And with the way that Jose Ramirez has swung the bat, the goal here now is to get him to get something, hit something below the zone, catch the top half of the ball. Last year, Jose Ramirez hit into 10 double plays. 6 of those were against left-handed pitching.
That's a third time now that Hamels has shown obvious concern about Geyer at second base. Now the infield setting up for that potential ground ball and a double play. A fastball away for ball 1. Outfield shows some respect for Ramirez, especially Gomez in center field. Gives him a little room out there. The 1-0. That's very high.
Back-to-back pitches where Cole Hamels is trying to get that fastball in to Jose Ramirez, and he ends up elevating it. And so that tells you he's coming out of some mechanics just a little bit, maybe rushing potentially. Legs might be getting a little bit tired just getting under those pitches. And so you tell yourself, slow down, stay over the rubber a little bit longer, try to drive that ball through the glove, get that fastball down.
His 20th pitch of the inning, and it is high, 3-0.
3 in a row of the same exact thing there where they're trying to get those fastballs in, but Cole leaving him up right now as Tony Barnett is up in that Rangers bullpen.
He walked Encarnacion, and now the 3-0 pitch to Ramirez, and that one grew for a strike. The rookie Yonder Diaz waiting on deck. You see Ramirez, I mean, he's a candidate. Andrews and Odor pinching the bag just a little bit up the middle. Here's a 3-1. And it's fouled off. Full count. Rangers took a 2-0 lead in the first on the Mazara 2-run homer. Indians climbed back in it, took a lead. At the bottom of the fifth, the 3 runs came in for the Rangers to get back in front, and now Cleveland again breathing down their necks. Fans trying to help Hamels to the finish line in this 6th inning. His 3-2 pitch. That ball hit out to left field. Right to Mazara. 2 away.
That's a great job by Cole Hamels, falling behind the count. 3-0 to a good hitter like Jose Ramirez, who has had good at-bats against him, and getting to the full count and executing a really good changeup down and away and getting Ramirez to hit it off the end of the bat.
Hey, only T-Mobile lets you stream, post, and share all things Major League Baseball. With T-Mobile One, unlimited data means unlimited baseball. So 2 away. Geyer at second, Encarnacion at first. And Hamels going after the rookie. Runs it in tight for a ball. We've made mention of the fact that it's just a 3rd big league game this young man has played in. And not unlike Nomar Mazara, man, he's pretty cool, pretty comfy.
Very relaxed, does a really nice job. You can pick up on it very quickly. Does a nice job of tracking pitches, seeing the ball. He's chased a couple of pitches out of the zone, which is certainly to be expected for a rookie. But you watch the swing, you watch the approach, you see the patience, and you can understand why the Indians are high on Diaz.
1-0, and it's tapped foul. A 1-1 count. Now he has not to this point hit for a whole lot of power. I mean, look at these 2 young guys. Mazara on the right. I mean, you know, he earned the nickname, and it didn't take long. The Big Chill. So that's taken. I don't know what they're going to do for Yandy. One. Hamels missing again. So the big left-hander trying to push his way through this 6th inning. Activity in that Rangers pen we saw a moment ago. Tony Barnett warming up. Time taken. Seven straight years of 200 or better innings pitched for Cole Hamels, all the postseason innings as well, and he puts that one right in there. It's 2-2.
That's a great pitch behind the count. 2-1, painting a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And as we see Cole Hamels fatigue here a little bit, he has come up big and made some really big pitches, and Jonathan Lucroy going to try to get him to make one more big pitch.
Well, Jonathan may have helped him get that last one. Pulled it in that smidge that it needed. 2-2 the count. Geyer is at second, was hit by a pitch. Encarnacion at first on the walk. The 2-2. And he'll go after it. Fly ball out to right field. But Chu is there and makes the catch. Woo. Yeah, that looked easy. So only 1 run scores, and we go to the bottom of the 6th. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Tonight's jackpot worth $300 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In tonight. The Rangers are hitting for Corey Conson of Plano. Now, if a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Corey wins $300. If a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Corey gets $25 grand.
And I will tell you this, I don't think Corey could have drawn it up any better than this inning right here. Mike Napoli, Ruben Odor, Carlos Gomez. A couple of guys get on, maybe Jonathan Lucroy, Joey Gallo. Ooh. Certainly capable of the grand slam.
Well, it's a 1-run game, and Danny Salazar continuing to work in this 6th inning. He has handled Napoli with relative ease tonight. Struck him out in the first inning. Did the same thing in the fourth, and his 2-0. Right in there.
Nobody throwing right now in the Cleveland Indians bullpen. Danny Salazar, you see that pitch count up at 88. Got to believe that if the Rangers can work a couple of counts right here, there probably will be some action.
Well, that's 3-1, and if there's a guy in baseball good at working counts, it's the guy at the plate. Mike Napoli saw second most pitches per plate appearance last year in Major League Baseball. And he'll see plenty in this one. It's a full count.
How about the fans right there flinching behind home plate as a group? Even though that net's there, there's a natural reaction when you see a Mike Napoli foul tip coming your way.
Nature always wins. 3-2. That ball hit foul. So another extended at bat here for Napoli.
So we've seen the great changeup from Danny Salazar for most of the night. He throws an off-speed pitch to Mike Napoli on a 3-2 count. A great fastball hitter, as we know. Now the idea there may be you could set up the fastball. We'll see if Salazar tries to sneak one past Napoli.
Struck him out again. Third time tonight that Salazar gets Mike Napoli, and there's one away in the 6th inning. Hey, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls on the Run. Their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved as a volunteer or participant at the upcoming Girls on the Run 5K in your area by visiting foxsportsupports.com. One away, and here's Rougned Odor. Rugi has hit in every game so far in this series, and hits this ball hard down the right field line, but foul.
My goodness.
I should say.
And how about that? That ball bounced up into a suite.
Got it.
And if you're sitting in that suite, first of all, you're pretty thrilled you're sitting in a suite. First of all, it's a pretty awesome experience, but you're never thinking you're getting a foul ball up there. Never. And that ball took the perfect bounce right into the suite. Stay hot. Suites and a baseball. Look at those sweet chairs. Come on. Have a night.
See, now, when I was a kid, I didn't get to go to many ball games when I was a kid. I grew up in Nebraska. So the few games that I went to,
by the way.
well, it does explain plenty. The few games I went to in my life had the glove, and I absolutely thought I was getting a foul ball wherever I was sitting. It didn't matter. I could be in the upper deck and be like, come on, baby.
Without a doubt. I mean, this is part of bringing the glove and the excitement of bringing your glove to the ball game. I love when fans do that. You better believe, at least thinking, it's half the battle. Believing it's going to happen, right? You got to believe that you're going to get that opportunity. I never sniffed a foul ball. I saw my dad took me to maybe 2 to 3 games a year at Old Yankee Stadium growing up in the suburbs, and not even close. And then, so I have 3 children. We're in a game in Anaheim last year with the Angel game. And I have 1 daughter, 2 boys. My daughter, who really could care less about baseball, doesn't matter, gets a ball at a game. Alfredo Griffin threw one up in the stands and it ended up rolling to her, and she caught it, and she pretended like she was excited, but I knew it was fake. She's like, oh, okay. Well, we got a bunch of these balls at the house, don't we? Why do I need this one? Like, that was kind of her thought. And I'm thinking, my gosh, you wait for this your whole life. Appreciate it.
1-2. And Odor down swinging. Boy, Danny Salazar, as we work into the 6th inning now, I mean, 9 strikeouts.
He's throwing the ball well, and he looks really good as he elevates the fastball up and away. And it's so difficult to lay off of that pitch with 2 strikes, especially as it's a 2-seamer. See that ball running away, even though it finished a ball? It's a strike most of the way out of his hand. When you're trying to be defensive with 2 strikes, very difficult to let that one go by.
Well, I've been impressed by the changeup all night tonight, but it really makes that fastball look pretty good too.
Without a doubt. You see that slower pitch, especially with the movement down, that fastball is going to jump on you a lot quicker, and he already has good velocity. I mean, it's not that he doesn't throw hard. We'll see 96 at times tonight. You see it right there as well with movement. It's not a straight 96. So Danny Salazar right now is locked in. And Terry Francona had also said he was talking to him talking about him before the game, but also talking about spring training, some of the things that he was working on, picking up his tempo, stronger command than what he has done in the past. And so we have seen some of that on display tonight.
First pitcher we've seen in the series hit the century mark in pitches thrown. 9 strikeouts for Salazar. And he's 2-1 on Carlos Gomez. Rangers with a 1-run lead. Now, it would certainly appear that 7th inning on is going to be all bullpen for both teams. A 2-1. Gomez with another really competitive at bat here. He's set himself up. Good position. Could swing from his heels on this pitch if he wants. But he does not. He'll take his 2nd walk of the night. And that'll bring Francona out of the dugout. At first I thought it was because he was out of gum down there, but I think he wants to go talk to Danny Salazar. Yep, that's it. So Salazar done. What a night, though. 9 strikeouts. He's responsible for Gomez at first.
5-4 time for our progressive fan of the game. It is none other than 5-year-old Sonnet Greer, and this is why. Sonnet, show us what you got.
Let's go, Rangers! Let's go! Woohoo!
That's good enough for me, guys.
Showing some Lone Star grit right there. Getting after it. Comes from down here a little bit, from the chest. Nice job.
Meanwhile, Dan Otero has come on to throw, and we've talked a lot about Miller and the rest of their bullpen. This guy was a horse for them last year.
Underappreciated, I think, without a doubt, when you look at what the Cleveland Indians did with their bullpen, because it's not a lot of high strikeouts, slightly below league average, but excellent walk rate, fills up the strike zone. But he's the ground ball guy. He's usually the guy that Terry Francona likes to have. Middle of an inning, especially less than 2 outs, a 62% ground ball rate from Dan Otero a year ago. But middle relievers, they're getting more appreciation than ever, but still not all the way there. I think Dan Otero is kind of living proof of that.
Our ground ball to short. Lindor goes the short way to force out Gomez, and that ends the inning. So Otero gets the ground ball as ordered, and it takes us to the 7th inning in a 1-run game. Go to the 7th inning, and you can see through 6, a 1-run game once again. Indians striking with 2 outs in the inning, and that has been something they have done well early in the season. Nomar Mazara with a big-time home run in the 1st, and it was impressive.
It was good to see Nomar Mazara get his first one as Danny Salazar left the pitch over the plate and flinched as Nomar Mazara swung as that ball came off the bat. But a big one for his first here on the season, 20 a year ago. Let's see what Nomar Mazara has in store for Rangers fans this year when it comes to the long ball.
Good start so far, not just in terms of the power, but he has had these series. Tony Barnett on a relief, and we're talking about underrated guys, maybe underappreciated guys around the country. What he did last year for the Rangers, pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, especially as a rookie. Now, he was a 32-year-old rookie, of course, coming over from Japan, but nevertheless, his first time pitching in the big leagues. Doesn't matter how old or young you are, you look at those numbers for a first-year guy, and you're absolutely impressed with what Tony Barnett did for the Rangers.
So he's on for Hamels, and Tyler Naquin hitting for Austin Jackson.
See Tony Barnett's fastball, the 4-seam fastball, 92 to 95. He'll also run a 2-seamer in there, which you just saw, 91 to 93. But it is the cutter that he uses most that has been an incredible pitch for him. 34% of the time you'll see that cut fastball.
Ground ball right to Rougned Odor. One away. Dario Alvarez getting himself ready out there in the pen in case he may be needed this inning. So it's going to be all about the bullpens going forward, and that's where this series has hinged night by night. The opening game, it was the Rangers bullpen that flinched. 3-run ninth inning for the Indians to steal that opener. First pitch on the way to Perez. He shows bunt. And takes ball one. And then really the Cleveland bullpen has been lights out in this series.
Cleveland bullpen is really set up for a very nice season. They're very deep. Rangers bullpen is strong too, even though right now they are missing a couple of pieces. Jake Diekman, Tanner Scheppers, of course Keone Kela, who is not here right now. And so while those are three impactful arms, there's still a lot of good ones here. And we talked about it last night. More guys getting opportunities. We saw Alvarez warming up. He's certainly one of those guys. Jose Leclerc last night was excellent, his 2 innings of work. And so while some guys are down, opportunities open up for some others.
Barnett's 2-0. And it's in there for a strike.
And there's that cutter at 89 miles an hour. A year ago, 210 batting average against that cutter from Tony Barnett.
You're talking about him being a 32-year-old rookie last year. And he did something very few ever think of doing. The 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. It's the first American-born pitcher with more than 50 appearances in his first big league season coming at age 32 or older. And the reason you say American-born is because, you know, there have been some guys who've come over from Korea or Japan and been rookies, such that we consider them here stateside. 2-2, back up the middle, and that one through for a base hit. But you don't see that very often with American-born guys. Now, and the funny thing is, of course, he went over and really got himself right in Japan. That's where he became the pitcher he is today.
Yeah, the 6 seasons over there from ages 26 to 31, did a really nice job. Pitched 260 games for the Yakult Swallows to a 3.5 ERA. And did a really nice job and kind of found himself. And what a great opportunity. I mean, he still was only 26 when he first went over there. Certainly there was a lot in the tank, but had not seen any big league time up until that point. So Japan offered him a great opportunity. And I will tell you this, for a lot of guys, we saw with Kobe Lewis here. Obviously Rangers fans are very familiar with his story, right? A little bit of time here in the big leagues, but then goes to Japan, really kind of figures it out and comes back. Gabe Kapler, a former Texas Ranger, did that as well. It is becoming a little bit more of a common story. I think guys get away a little bit. It used to be you go to Asia, never hear from you again, right? It's usually kind of what you do toward the end of your career. Things have changed a little bit, and it's offered a great opportunity for guys to maybe take a little bit of a breather, people try to find themselves overseas, and then try to come back and pitch back in the States again.
Michael Martinez pinch running for Roberto Perez. So we've had Naquin pinch hitting, Martinez pinch running, and now Almonte, who's 0 for 2. Corners are in. 1-0. Well, a 1-run game. Rangers trying to salvage one in this series. Get a win into an off day tomorrow. And then they will welcome in the Oakland A's for a weekend series. We're going to see a lot of the Oakland A's in this first month and a half of the season, too. Very small lead for Martinez at first. And the 1-1, that one in the dirt. Lucroy can't get a handle on it. Martinez goes to second. A wild pitch, allowing him a very important base.
Without a doubt, obviously the double play now is no longer in effect with 1 out. You see this ball end up kind of finishing down and in. Jonathan Lucroy anticipating this ball being away. Michael Martinez does an excellent job. Good secondary lead, and then reads it right away without hesitation.
So he's got that tying run in his back pocket out there at second. Monte waiting on that 2-1. Here it is. That's ball 3. Well, the one big adjustment tonight and difference for the Rangers was the fact that their starting pitcher, Cole Hamels, kept the walks in check. Only 1 allowed tonight. Now it's going to be imperative that Barnett and the rest of the Rangers bullpen follow suit. That has been a big issue in the series. 10 walks allowed in the first 2 games, and you could argue a rather massive effect on the outcomes of those 2 games.
Without a doubt, so important to pound the strike zone. It really has been the theme of spring training that Doug Brocail is hoping will carry over into the season.
Yeah, Monte really late on that one, and a full count now. Now Broke today kind of stood up, took some bullets for his pitching staff today in the clubhouse. The media circling him to ask him about the walk problem in the first 2 days. And he did make a pretty good point. It's 2 days.
Media overreacting, say it ain't so.
Count stays full on Almonte. Hey, look, he wasn't happy about it either. No,
Sure.
no more so than anybody else. But was saying, look, I mean, you're talking about 2 pretty established guys who know how to throw, and he's confident, comfortable that they'll get it straightened out. Michael Martinez, a pinch runner out at second base for the Indians. And Barnett, it's a ground ball, second base. Only one thing Odor can do, and that is get the out at first. So they take care of Almonte, but Martinez now 90 feet away.
Fans, this Sunday, the first 15,000 fans 14 and older will receive an AT&T Rangers umbrella. Come see your Texas Rangers battle it out against the Oakland A's and take home this springtime giveaway. Reserve your seat at texasrangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
All right, Doug Brocail out there to talk things over.
Now this is interesting. We saw Alvarez warming up and was kind of under the assumption that we would see Tony Barnett stay in against at least the 3 righties. As your order flips over here, as you see Jeremy Jeffress now warming up, you got the switch hitters at the top of the order in Carlos Santana, Francisco Lindor. Lindor, of course, has been facing just a lefty all night and did a nice job with his home run and his base hit. And so Carlos Santana, the same thing. Maybe they're just playing it as, you know what, let's put him the other way. Even though if you look at him from the left side, a .273 hitter a year ago, I should say, excuse me, against left-handed pitching, 5 home runs. Against right-handed pitching, 30 home runs between last year and this year.
Santana up there 1 for 3, and he takes just a little in.
And that's a good cutter right there from Tony Barnett, right on the corner, just missed a little bit in. But you like that as a first pitch, especially because Carlos Santana, although he didn't offer at it, flinched at it a little bit, tells you maybe he didn't see it as well.
It's been pretty deliberate between pitches. The 1-0. A little bit in again. Ball 2. Santana's been pretty much the toughest out. There's 5 hits in this series. That said, Francisco Lindor waiting on deck as a 2 for 3 night going with a home run. Here's a 2-0. Bouncer foul.
It's 3 cutters in a row that we see now from Tony Barnett. That is the go-to for him as he continues to pound Carlos Martinez in. Excuse me, Santana. And it was Santana against the cutter over the course of his career from both righties and lefties. I should say going back to last year, pretty high batting average, .352 against cutters. But against the righties, not nearly as good. Just a .125 batting average against on the cutter, which is probably why they decided to leave Tony Barnett in.
Foul tipped, and the count 2-2.
And the information that is available is unbelievable, not only to us now, but obviously for teams first, that they have that kind of information, and you know, okay, we got a heavy cutter pitcher in Tony Barnett, and you have Carlos Santana. And so you start thinking about those matchups. You have all this stuff written out way beforehand. What are we going to do in this situation? Which is our best reliever that matches up with a guy like Carlos Santana? Well, they see the numbers and what he has done against that cutter. And that's why they decided to leave Tony Barnett in there.
Barnett with the count 2-2 on Santana, trying to finish him off here. and leave that tying run at third. But time asked for, granted. It took a little while for Barnett to get that information. About 25,000 here tonight, just a bit under. This final game of the series, a 2-2 pitch, and that ball is swung on and missed, strike three. That goes well past first base. The inning is over. The punch out keeps it a one-run game. We go to the bottom of the seventh. They'll stand and stretch tonight. Rangers on top. That one has been a pretty cool but very comfortable night here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Joey Gallo leads things off in the seventh inning, and he'll shoot this one foul out of play for strike one. Gallo, then Elvis Andrus, and then back to the top of the order for Delano DeShields. Joey with a walk back in the fifth inning. And fouls this one the other direction. The count 0-2. They've been pleased with his at-bats in this opening series.
Oh, I think without a doubt, I think he's seen the ball pretty well. He's still going to chase some pitches. That is who Joey Gallo is. And the important part, I think, you know, as we sit there and try to figure it out, it's okay, well, how do you make him an everyday big league hitter, and do you cut down the strikeouts? No matter what, you don't want to give up the power, right? That is his strength. But I do think he's seeing the ball a little bit better, but still taking some really strong hacks.
He did not go. 1-2. He's a game changer with that power. 1-2. And he'll stay alive. Now some defensive changes for the Indians. Tyler Naquin stays in the game. He'll play center field. And behind the plate is now Yan Gomes.
A lot of times you might assume, okay, Yan Gomes is the starting catcher. He gets a day off with Roberto Perez, the backup. Never completely works out that way.
2-2 now on Gallo. No, in fact, for of all the positions where guys might get a day off, that's the one where you really kind of have to almost assume you're going to get the game at some point.
Most likely, especially in a situation when you have Roberto Perez on, reaches base, close game, and they need the pinch runner. That means Gomes has to go in.
Gallo down on strikes to start the seventh.
Rangers fans get $10 upper reserve box seats most Tuesdays all season long, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. You can also add a $10 meal to your seats when you buy online. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials and use coupon code FSSW10 to reserve your $10 seats today. 2 S's. I didn't say 3, did I? I felt like I said 3. 2 S's.
Just 2? Okay, duly noted. There's a big swing by Elvis Andrus. That ball carrying out to left and gone. Elvis Andrus gets in the parade. First of the year and a big insurance run for the Rangers.
We'll say this about these Rangers home runs that we have seen in this opening series. They've pretty much all been no-doubters, and Elvis Andrus knew it right away. Watch the reaction on this pitch that ends up sitting out over the plate. Yep, looked at it and then looked right in the dugout right afterwards. Another no-doubter here for the Texas Rangers.
So there you go. And now the celebrations can take place, and everybody will recreate the moment down there. Big home run by Elvis Andrus. And now Drew Robinson, who'll get in the game as a pinch hitter. Robinson, very good spring training. In fact, those 4 home runs you saw led the Rangers during Cactus League play, and big league debut right here A big moment for him. Delano DeShields got 3 plate appearances tonight, went 0 for 2 with the sacrifice, and a great spot to get Robinson in the game and get him some at bats. I think he's a guy who may contribute for an extended period of time with this team. Obviously, there were some roster openings with Adrian Beltre DL to start the year, but I would not be surprised if Drew Robinson, given an opportunity, finds a way to stick around and contribute.
Well, I think it's certainly a possibility. They love the fact that they can put him at a bunch of different positions, but how about this? You work your entire life, you never will ever forget this moment, regardless of how it ends.
The roller down to first, and Encarnacion will end it at first for the second out of the inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Here's John Radigan. Well, I'll tell you what, they have been pretty sharp in their first home series of the year, and maybe more than anything else, they've been getting great starting pitching. Chad Morton today, the starter, or Charlie Morton rather, and he's given them another good start. So 2 out here, and here's Shin-Soo Choo.
Jeff Bannister popped out in the dugout afterwards, and right on cue, a half a second late, those Hyundai lights were blinking on the car and also on the sign. I guess that's part of the home run deal, but it had not stopped while Drew Robinson was hitting, and so Jeff Bannister popped out, talked to the home plate umpire, and just kind of pointed up to the sign. And I don't think the home plate umpire has the power to get it back to normal, but it went back to normal.
Press the panic button on his fob, and yeah,
off they went.
Chu shoots this one down the line. Foul. Well, Matt Bush looks like he's getting ready for the 8th. Chu waits on the 1-2. Chu scored twice tonight, so he's done his job out of that second spot on the order. He's trying to walk and a fielder's choice. He was also grounded out tonight. In a game in which the Rangers lead by 2. And Otero on his 1-2 pitch in the dirt.
Stop me if you heard this before, but Elvis Andrus is smiling right now
and talking
in a baseball uniform.
Yeah. It's always something. 2-2 pitch, and boy, that one just missed. Chu might have sold that a little bit.
I think so. And you think about this, go back to the call earlier. Remember where he didn't like a call where he started walking toward first base, and umpires will never admit that it works that way, but sometimes it does. You buy yourself a pitch, maybe a borderline pitch a little bit later in the game.
Well, the payoff, and Chu takes ball 4. Second walk he is coached tonight. And that one's got Francona thinking a little bit. With Nomar Mazara coming up. So Ryan Rua will take over at first base, pinch running for Chu now. Both teams really emptying the benches in the 7th inning. Zach McAllister.
So no lefty in the bullpen right now warming up, and so that's why Nomar Mazara is going to get Otero. Zach McAllister, the former starter, is down there, getting ready, but righty. If you're going to have either one stay in, I'd rather have the ground ball guy against the lefty.
Hard ground ball, that one into left field, base hit. 3rd hit of the night for Nomar Mazara, and give him 7 hits in the series. Wow.
And I love this, right? He hits the home run earlier and a big one, and first pitch, not trying to do too much, not thinking, can I hit a second home run? No, gets a fastball away, hits it away, hits it hard. The mature approach of Nomar Mazara continues to impress.
All right, Tito Francona out there to take the ball. And we'll get into the bullpen once again. Rangers lead by 2. And our next game presented by AT&T. Going to be Friday, tomorrow, an off day. The Oakland A's in town for the first of 3, and they're bringing Chris Davis apparently. I was hoping maybe there was some discussion about that. I was almost surprised to see the 10 home runs last year against the Rangers. I thought it was more. I
felt like more, didn't it?
felt it was more.
It's incredible to think about, what, 19 games, 10 home runs for Chris Davis, and just locked in. And so now it's be a little bit more careful this year, figure out what he did, check that videotape. What was he hitting well? Was it just mistakes, or was it even executed pitches, and maybe alternating the game plan a little bit against him, or just, you know what, give him the Barry Bonds treatment and pitching around him and go after the rest of that lineup, as we see Zach McAllister now coming in here for the Cleveland Indians, trying to get them out of this inning with 2 outs. On to face Mike Napoli.
First pitch to him, and he swings right through it. Now they love him here. Napoli with a chance to really add some big runs. You see 2 for 5 against McAllister in his career, but he's an 0 for 3 tonight. Hits this one high in the air, back of home plate, and that one is a souvenir. Nothing for Yan Gomes to do with it. Napoli against his old team. And you knew that would be a storyline for these first 3 games, and maybe a bit of a distraction. He said, "No, you know what? I've done this once or twice. Played against an old team. 1 for 9 in this series." He's got Rua pinch running out at second base. Nomar Mazara at first. And Zach McAllister, 3rd pitcher of the night for the Tribe, and the 0-2 is very high.
They tried to elevate, maybe unintentionally there. Jean Gomes was kind of set up down in a way, but we have seen Mike Napoli be susceptible to that high fastball when he is behind in the count. We'll see if Gomes tries to go there on purpose or not.
The 1-2. And he hits this one sharply, but right to the second baseman, Ramirez. And that will end the inning.
Well, it was Elvis Andrus with his first of the year, but for the Rangers, their 6th of the year. Right now leading Major League Baseball with those 16 home runs. Cleveland Indians by a score of 6-4. And fans, a fan's choice 20 game plan is the most flexible way to enjoy the 2017 Rangers season. Choose the 20 games that work best for your schedule. Can't make it to one of the games? No problem. Your 20 game plan includes a flexible exchange policy. For all the details and the benefits, visit TexasRangers.com/20 game plans. And Matt Bush now on here for the Texas Rangers, his 2nd appearance of the season. You see the numbers from a year ago. Big year for Matt Bush, and certainly the Texas Rangers now relying on him for another one. He'll take on a significant role in this bullpen as the setup man to Sam Dyson.
3rd pitcher of the night. Tony Barnett worked through that scoreless 7th. Cole Hamels went 6 tonight. Allowed 4 runs on 5 hits, though only 3 of the runs were earned. And Bush starts with some heat for ball 1. Now defensively, Ryan Rua now in left field after taking over as a pinch runner, and that displaced Nomar Mazara to right. Chu no longer in the game, and the 1-0 low and in. Well, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in this 8th inning for the Indians. So a huge spot for Matt Bush. Lindor has been the most dangerous tonight. And the 2-0 hits the corner.
And this is one of those interesting examples when the conversation goes to setup men versus closers. Now, the way that Jeff Bannister is going to run it. Matt Bush is going to be the setup man, so he's going to pitch the 8th inning in these situations. Sometimes finish off the 7th, but he's got the harder job right now because he has the middle of the lineup. Scott Lindor, Geyer, and Encarnacion, like you mentioned. If you think about your choice of having to get 3 outs, you want the middle of the lineup or you want the back end of the lineup? Even though the back end has been good in this series for the Indians, of course, you would take your chances with guys that are hitting lower in the order. But Matt Bush right now has the more difficult task.
And he loses Lindor. So a walk to start the 8th inning. And that gets Lucroy out there just to make sure everything all right. Give him a moment to compose himself.
Just a second walk for Ranger pitching tonight, which is a big one. It's in the topic of conversation through the first 2 games, and certainly not the way that Matt Bush wanted to start things off. As he's now got to deal with the pinch hitters. Brandon Geyer is going to be out. Michael Brantley is in.
Now, it's funny, as we were going to break, you were talking about how the Rangers lead the league in team home runs. And that has been a big stat and a big storyline this weekend. The walks, though, to me, by far, have been the storyline of the weekend. So that's a big one with Lindor over there at first, and Bush will give him some acknowledgement. With Brantley hitting in this spot now, by the way, the Indians have exhausted their bench. And Bush finds the inside corner for strike 1.
Now, if it makes you feel any better, those 10 walks that the Texas Rangers pitching staff had issued coming into tonight were tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball. The Kansas City Royals, 16 walks through 16 innings pitched coming into tonight.
That is rugged. 1 strike offering, and Bush finds the outside corner this time with a heater. 0-2. Brantley, a very good pinch hitter, and those numbers support that claim. That's ridiculous, by the way. That's not even possible.
Very difficult job to do. You hear great pinch hitters talking about flow of the game, but even more importantly, a lot of them come out hacking right away. We see Michael Brantley take 2 strikes here, but a lot of guys look for that first strike when they're pinch hitting and try to jump all over it.
Well, the first 2 strikes he saw were, as we say, quality strikes.
Sure, painted corners,
those were
without a doubt.
Man.
Yeah. But Lenny Harris, of course, is the all-time pinch hit leader in Major League Baseball. Played with him. Great guy. Has been a coach as well. Major League Baseball, always looking for something early to jump on in those situations. Never waiting around to get to 2 strikes.
1-2 the count. Bush showing us his slider, I think, for the first time tonight. I think he went mostly fastballs to Lindor. 1-2 the count now on Brantley. And when Encarnacion waiting on deck. Long pause for Bush, and he gets a swing and a miss on the fastball, and his first strikeout of the night is our first out of the 8th.
We know Matt Bush has the great fastball, but also look at the downward angle on that one as well. 4 seams painted right at the knees. It's a tough one to catch up to, especially after seeing that off-speed pitch for a ball.
So he takes care of Brantley and now has Edwin Encarnacion. 1 out, a man at first. And the pick over to first chases Lindor back in there.
And you're right, out of the 9 pitches that Matt Bush has thrown so far, 1 curveball, 1 slider, 7 of them have been fastballs.
He faced Encarnacion twice last year with the Blue Jays. And there's a swing at a high fly ball, well hit center field. Gomez has room and makes the catch. Wow. 2 gone. Well, that guy makes that kind of a swing. and you hear that sort of noise,
without a doubt. And for Matt Bush, thinking about, of course, right, the first game in the 8th inning, the solo home run that he allowed, and so when he sees a ball come off the bat really well, especially the bat of Edwin Encarnacion, maybe a little bit of a flinch in there, and fingers crossed that that ball's in the air.
Yeah, that home run of the 8th inning on Monday night tied the game at 5. That one fell just short. That would have tied the game at 6.
I think that really kind of helps you understand a little bit the mind of a reliever and how difficult a series can be. First game right out of the chute, a guy like Edwin Encarnacion gets you, right? Hits the home run. You're probably going to have to face him again.
Runner going. Throw down to second is not in time.
And both Elvis Andrus and Rougned Odor were pointing into the dugout. They want to make sure that the Rangers staff takes a look at this. We'll get a look on the replay here, but the tag looked like Elvis might have been able to get Lindor on the foot, just a matter of whether or not his hand got there first. We'll take a peek. Man, that is really close. I think he got in there. As we see one more, the tag ended up on his thigh. Watch the hand first. Yeah, he's in there. Close, but I think he's.
I was going to say close enough that I think a review would confirm the call on the field.
And it does not appear that the Texas Rangers will ask for a replay. Look at the shot right here. Look at that. It's incredible.
That is amazing.
The shot, but then how close it is to him. I mean, this is why we talk about things like secondary leads and jumps and how important they are. You're talking about milliseconds, the difference between being safe and out.
1-0 pitch, and that's a strike to Ramirez.
But getting back real quick to Matt Bush and understanding how this works, where you come in, guy hits a home run off you, first at bat, and you're thinking, man, we got 2 more games. And there's a chance I'm seeing Edwin Encarnacion at least one more time. Same thing for those lefty specialists when it's that one really good lefty that you have to get out. And he gets you the first night. Remember coming in here years ago, Rafael Palmeiro hitting a home run off me. The first game of a 3-game series was August. It's 200 degrees. You're like, man, I got to do this 2 more times, and it's probably going to be him again. And you just want to get out of town.
Really, I thought the whole thing was that guys wanted that chance to come back and get him.
The good players are like that.
Okay. 2-2 the count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, I just want to get out. Let's go. Let's try it somewhere else.
Just escape.
Well, I mean, I had such a difficult time with Rafi. That was part of it as well, especially a guy that you've had historical troubles with, and they get you that first game in the series. Never fun.
Bush has 1 strikeout tonight. He'd love one more right here to shut down this 8th inning, and Lucroy will make sure that they're on the same page with Lindor out there at second base watching the signs. Lindor got on via the walk, stole second, barely. These are all barely. I mean, how often is like, wow, he
stole that bag by 4 steps.
Everything's been away. The 2-2. It got him swinging. Matt Bush blows it right by him at 98 miles per hour. And that strikeout leaves a man in scoring position. Bottom of the 8th coming. Matt Bush bringing a little extra life in the late innings. West is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keep calm to learn more. Oh, what a night so far. Rangers lead by 2. Bottom of the 8th inning. Rougned Odor already has 1 hit tonight, 1 for 3. He'll lead things off. And Carlos Gomez and Jonathan Lucroy. More power again tonight for the Rangers at the plate. Odor fouls that one off, 1-1. And some power out of the bullpen too with Matt Bush just moments ago. Hey, the outfield, we do get a lot of questions about those lines you're seeing, those swirlies out on the outfield grass. And just to explain again, there was a special event held here in the late fall, and some of those lines, or what you see, were painted on the grass. 2-1.
And the grass died underneath, and so what they had to do was replace it with sod. So it's all grass that's there, but the newer sod where those lines are different colors. It's kind of almost like the grass has to catch up a little bit because The darker grass is newer grass, but it does not affect the playing surface at all, not even in the slightest. So nothing to worry about as far as outfield play or bad hops. And I don't hate it. It's kind of abstract art out there. It's kind of neat.
It has been a little bit of a curiosity,
Sure.
though. I mean, a lot of people have wondered, and even the Cleveland Indians guys were asking, hey, what's going on out there? Our viewers are asking. And, that's it. The grass will blend soon enough. 2-2.
You don't notice it when you're out there as much. We have a great view of it when you're up high in TV. You'll notice it way more than if you're actually standing in the outfield. You're standing in the outfield, you don't notice it nearly as much as you do, certainly from a shot like that.
It's funny, though, because one of the new rules this year for Major League Baseball was no more markers for positioning.
That's right.
Oops. 3-2 pitch to Odor, and that one popped up back of home plate, playable near the screen, and Gomes takes care of it. 1 away.
If you're wondering about those markings and how things work and what that's all about, defensive shifts now more than ever, right? Fielders are all over the place. Very untraditional for a lot of these guys, and so there were certain teams that were putting things in the grass like golf tees, burying them far down so that players would know where to stand. Major League Baseball said no, not anymore. If you're going to shift, which most teams obviously do, some more than others, you got to figure out where to go on your own. You can't be marking up the field.
Well, I mean, look, they've been positioning guys forever with signals from the bench. Not that hard.
Yep.
Just more of it now.
We see guys, right? You'll see guys pull papers out. We've seen outfielders pulling it out of the back of their back pocket, looking where they're supposed to be. It is a different game. Certainly from what I remember in that regard, and teams paying closer and closer attention to tendencies of where guys are hitting the baseball.
1 strike pitch to Carlos Gomez. That one off the end of the bat. Cued out there to Ramirez. 2 away. But you could use a little Fudgy the Whale out there in right field. Saying, right in the eye. That's where we need you to be. Hey, MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, more. You get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. New pitcher coming on for the Indians. 2 out, bottom of the 8th. Rangers up by 2. And the Globe Life Park offers a variety of suite rental options. You can attend your next Rangers game in style. Most suite rental packages include parking and a food and beverage package. So go to TexasRangers.com/suites or call 972-RANGERS. Get some more details on how to reserve a suite to your next game. Sean Armstrong has come on now for the Indians as we get deeper and deeper into their pen.
About as good as a pitcher's last name as you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Armstrong fastball sits about 93 miles an hour. Cutter is his next go-to pitch. You'll see that at around 88. Also throws a curveball 12% of the time at about 84 miles an hour.
Well, he looks at Jonathan Lucroy and pumps one right in there for strike 1. Hey, Brantley, by the way, stays in the game, and he is now in left field. Meant to mention that earlier, but we were, fixing up the grass in the outfield. Here comes the 1 strike pitch to Lucroy. Woo! Bounces up there. That got away. 1-1 the count.
So if you're Jonathan Lucroy and you come in, you see the scouting report, 61% fastballs, 28% cutters. What's that add up to? 89% of the time, you're going to see something hard, right? And so you almost eliminate the curveball a little bit, even though he has it, and you're looking for anything from 88 to 95 miles an hour from this righty.
Look out. That one almost got him, and it's 2-1. Sam Dyson getting himself ready to try and close this thing off in the 9th. Two balls and a strike on Lucroy. He'll foul it off. Well, Danny Salazar was pretty good tonight for the Indians. Struck out 9 in his 5 2/3. And then Dan Otero came on, allowed a run on 2 hits in 1 inning. Zach McAllister a scoreless inning. And they leave it now to Armstrong. Try and keep it a 2-run game.
Think about it. That Francisco Lindor play is pretty significant ultimately, right? That led to 2 runs. That ground ball that was up the middle. Forgot where Jose Ramirez was, made a bad decision, then compounded it by throwing a baseball away.
Full count now on Lucroy. Now Dyson in the 9th inning. He's going to get the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. The rookie, Yandy Diaz. Tyler Naquin, who came in late in the game as a pinch hitter. And Yan Gomes, who has yet to appear at the plate. He's been behind it for a couple of innings, but hasn't stepped into the box yet. Lucroy ready, and the payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Lucroy down on strikes, and that ends the 8th for the Rangers. They'll take a 2-run lead into the 9th. Sam Dyson coming on.
Inning. It's Dyson time in Texas. John Radigan here in the Captain Morgan Club. I'm in the Rebecca Creek Saloon getting ready for Rangers Live. It's the post-game show, and we hope to have a lot of firsts on this edition of Rangers Live, the post-game show. It will be the first show without Pudge Rodriguez. He had to go to Detroit to throw out the first pitch at their home opener tomorrow. It could be the first happy Jeff Bannister post-game interview, and we hope to hear from lots of players as well. Mark McLemore is here to help me break it all down. It's Rangers Live, a complete post-game show with lots of firsts, we hope, right after the game, guys.
Right on. Thanks, John. Sam Dyson is on, looking for his first save of the year. And as we mentioned earlier, he'll get 6, 7, and 8 from the Indians, and they have nothing left on the bench. They have emptied the bench tonight, so what we see in the scorebook is what he will get. Terry Francona was aggressive in the 7th and 8th innings, trying to take advantage of potential opportunities, and they did have opportunities. Left a man at 3rd in the 7th, left a man out at 2nd base in the 8th inning. But Yandy Diaz, the rookie, stands in and he takes strike 1 from Dyson.
And as good as Diaz was in the minor leagues, I don't think he's ever probably seen a sinker as good as Sam Dyson's. We'll see how he handles this. We're talking a lot about how well he has taken pitches. I don't think he's seen the bowling ball that Sam Dyson throws up there too often.
Well, it just missed 1-1 the count on Diaz, who does have a hit tonight, and he has scored a run. Dyson pitched in the opener on Monday night. And this one shot foul down the right side out of play. Dyson, it was not a save opportunity on Monday, but that doesn't lessen the blow in it. He took over a 5-5 game in the 9th inning and allowed 3 runs to score in that 8-5 loss. So back to what we were talking about an inning ago. He wants to get back in. He wanted to get back in this series and get back on the right track against this team.
No doubt. When you're a reliever, you have to have that short memory. You have a bad outing, got to be ready to go the next day. But there also is that anxiety level of wanting to get back out there as soon as possible and really completely put the last bad one behind you.
It's 1-2 to Diaz. Whoa, way up and in. It's 2-2. Missed his target there. His Lucroy was set up low and away. Always real important for a guy to get that leadoff hitter out of the bullpen. The 2-2 and a bouncer up the middle. That one is through for a base hit. Well, we have seen the first of Yandy Diaz in this series. My guess is we have not seen the last of this young rookie. He will be around.
I think you're absolutely right. And Sam Dyson, with the 65% ground ball rate, which is extremely high, gets the ground ball and hit particularly hard, just hit in the right spot. And when you're a sinker ball pitcher, you got to live with this sometimes. Ground balls are going to get through that are hit in the right place. Strikeouts aren't the name of the game for Sam Dyson. It's getting guys to hit that top half of the baseball and hit it on the ground. But, which is a good situation right now. We got a runner at first, nobody out. Ideally against Tyler Naquin now, you're trying to induce that double play.
Not much of a lead at first, and the pitch to Naquin is off the plate. Dyson's misses so far tonight, there have only been a few pitches thrown, but his misses tonight have not been real close. The 1-0. And a chopper over third. Base hit into left field.
What in the world? I mean, you see how high that ball bounced. I mean, that is just a bad break for Sam Dyson. You don't see this every day on a non-artificial turf field. As Tyler Naquin just hits this ball straight in the ground, two-seam fastball. You see the movement there, you see the grip, but it actually hit a little bit in foul territory, so it almost hit in the batter's box. That batter's box is tamped down a lot harder, right? You see the grounds crew out there because so many guys are standing in it. A lot of times that dirt will get loose a lot quicker, so they work hard to make sure that that thing is patted down really hard. The downside of that is if a ball were to hit it, it's going to take a bigger bounce, and that's exactly what you saw. And that's a tough break for Sam Dyson.
Yeah, now Yan Gomes. Mentioned earlier, he came in defensively, his first plate appearance tonight. Diaz second, Naquin at first, and a strike from Sam Dyson. Well, it has been a weird series. I mean, we have seen really both teams have done some things offensively that have been unusual. That's a rough start to this inning for Dyson. The one-strike pitch. Off the handle, out toward right field. Lazara there. One away.
I'm surprised. I'm not a huge proponent of the sacrifice bunt, but in that situation, I kind of am. Yan Gomes only has one in his entire career, but the idea of trying to get a bunt down, going second and third, maybe that leads to an intentional walk, maybe it doesn't. But instead, Yan Gomes swinging away and hits a fly ball and not a productive at bat.
Yeah, it's interesting. There was a similar situation this last night for the Rangers. They had minute first and second, nobody out, ninth inning, but it was not a bunt spot for several reasons. Number one, they weren't down by two. All right, and that's the big thing here. But also, you're talking about a guy who gets a lot of double play ground balls here. Get out of that double play situation if you're the Indians, and get that tying run into scoring position. To me, it does make sense in this spot. Now, run probability says no, you got a higher chance of scoring a run by not bunting, but they need two. Gallo up tight at third, and Almonte takes strike one.
That's a nice looking two-seamer from Sam Dyson. That's the one at 96, right at the knees. When he's throwing that consistently, that is what makes him so tough. But I'm with you now. It's over 1,600 plate appearances for Yan Gomes and just one sacrifice bunt, and that was all the way back in 2012. So they may not believe in his bunting ability at all either. That could be part of it.
Monte 0 for 3 tonight, and that one in the dirt. Lucroy, though, keeps it close enough. Ooh, Yandy Diaz stays at second base. Great hustle by Lucroy.
This is a great block here. It shoots out. I mean, listen again, trying to go away. Jonathan Lucroy does everything he can, but look at Almonte waving Diaz on and telling him, because he can see the ball the best, but Diaz not confident in it. And stuck at second base. Good break there for the Rangers.
Yeah, I think that's the second time he has not gotten a good read out there at second base in the series. Could be significant. Time called.
And here's the other thing with that too, is that because you're down by 2, that run doesn't mean anything. It's the run at first base that means the most, and any chance you take going to third or taking an extra base in this situation, you have to be 100% sure that you're going to be safe, and obviously that was not the case for Diaz.
All right, 1-1 pitch, and it's low. Well, Diaz rolled one up the middle for a base hit. Then Tyler Naquin with the old school Baltimore chop over third. And the Indians got the potential tying runs on to start this inning. Gomes, the fly out to right, and now the 2-1 pitch to Almonte, and it's high, 3-1. I can't walk this guy here.
No, absolutely not. Even though Almonte has been off to a decent start so far this season, he's still the number 9 hole hitter. You think about flipping the lineup over outside of a double play. Carlos Santana is already going to get an opportunity as it is. You don't want it with extra runners on base.
3-1. And it's fouled off. Well, Santana, who has been a terror in this series. You want to minimize the damage that he could potentially do. Tyson trying to nail this thing down. 1 out, 2 men out there. Here's the payoff. Lost him, and they're loaded up. We were talking about this earlier today, right? How closers, they tend to get the job done, but sometimes it doesn't always. It's just not simple, and it can be stressful for a manager.
Oh, without a doubt, especially I think for the Rangers here right now, trying to get that first run, that first win across the board, and certainly want your team to experience that within the first series. Yeah, there's stress all the time for managers, but 9th inning and you see a closer struggling a little bit, yeah, that's going to add to the intensity.
Big Carlos Santana. A little bit in. 1 for 4 tonight, so it has been a quieter night for Santana. You can see he's put up some pretty good numbers in these spots. Five hits in the series. 2-0.
Jonathan Lucroy going to go out now and talk to Sam Dyson here, try to get him back on track. That first pitch that he threw was a good one that just missed. That sinker, the 1-0, pretty far below the strike zone right there. So they want to get him comfortable, get him confident. He has that kind of sinker and the kind of movement where he can pitch behind in the count and have some success, especially when you get a guy like Carlos Santana in swing mode. If he executes the fastball down and away with good movement, it absolutely could turn into that ground ball double play that they're looking for.
Jeremy Jeffress loosening up out of that bullpen. Well, it's nervous time right now. Diaz at third, Naquin at second, and Almonte at first for the Indians. It's a 2-run lead, and Dyson in a real tricky spot here. 3-0 to Carlos Santana.
That one cut a little bit on Sam Dyson as you see that ball finish down and in. And when he's throwing it right and throwing it well, the ball either goes straight down or actually has a little bit of fade away from a left-handed hitter, not in the way that last one was.
Readies again, the 3-0 pitch, and Santana takes ball 4. Wow, that gets the run home and puts a potential tying run at third. Back-to-back walks. Really kind of hard to have seen this coming. You know, the way he pitched on Monday, the way things have gone here tonight after what we saw in the World Baseball Classic. Dyson was absolutely in command of everything at the WBC, looked locked in.
Without a doubt, it was a very strong spring for him. So yeah, you're right, a little bit of a surprise to see this in a tough spot for Jeff Bannister as well, because what you don't want to do is relay any kind of panic message to Sam Dyson at all. You don't want him to start to feel the pressure, and we know this about Banny. He believes in his guys as much as anybody. He wants to make sure that Sam Dyson knows that he has his confidence.
Well, there's a strike. 20th pitch of the inning over the plate to Lindor. Now some sarcastic applause raining down, but that is a big pitch. Lindor's had a big night. Boy, Dyson would love to see him hit one on the ground right here and in this game. 1-1. Lindor had a homer back in the 6th inning. Base hit in the 4th. He walked his last time in. Runners everywhere for the Indians, and this ball is hammered down the right field line, heading toward the corner, and gone. A grand slam for Francisco Lindor on a 1-1 pitch. And that is a gut punch.
Tough break for Sam Dyson, who unfortunately just hasn't been feeling it now these first 2 games of the 2017 season. The sinker, the movement is there, but the consistency in the strike zone has not been there, and that's Francisco Lindor's first grand slam. But Jonathan Lucroy wanted this ball down and away. Instead, it ends up finishing out over the middle of the plate, and he's able to just keep it fair.
Jeff Bannister out to take the baseball. Jeremy Jeffress to come on and try and clean it up.
Well, Sam Dyson struggling with command, and not even the walks, which we have seen, but command within the strike zone. 1-1 count. Jonathan Lucroy wanted a slider down, sinker down and away, and instead it ended up finishing middle. You see the reaction from Lindor. You see the reaction from Jonathan Lucroy as well. Slow start to the season here for Sam Dyson, but track record is there. He'll get back on track, just taking him a little bit longer, I think, than expected to start the year.
Jeremy Jeffress, closer last year for Milwaukee, has come on and deals with Jeff Brantley. Probably Michael Brantley. Wish.
The Cowboy Jeff Brantley, radio voice of the Cincinnati Reds.
That would be a decidedly easier task. And Michael Brantley, it's 1-1. Those numbers last year combined with Milwaukee and with the Rangers. 2 home runs allowed.
That's all about that movement for Jeremy Jeffress, right? We know this about him, very similar in the sense, not exactly the same sinker, but a fastball that is not straight. Good downward movement to it. Makes it very difficult when it's on to get the ball in the air.
Gets the comebacker, takes care of Michael Brantley, who, as I understand it, is a huge fan of Jeff Brantley's work on those Reds broadcasts. 2 away. Well, you knew it was going to be a tough game again. You knew the Indians would give you a good fight. And this is one where the Rangers taking a 2-run lead and against the bottom of the order in the 9th inning. You're feeling pretty good. Now, could you imagine something going wrong? Yeah, it's possible. But a 5-run 9th inning, that was not likely in the cards. Here's Edwin Encarnacion. And it's high for a ball. 0 for 3 tonight with a walk. So some work to do for those Rangers bats in the bottom of the 9th inning when we get there. 1-1 on Encarnacion. Pretty amazing first series for the Cleveland Indians on the road, starting the season on the road. Now they go to Arizona. They have an off day tomorrow in the desert, and then they will have some interleague play with the Diamondbacks. This ball bounced sharply to short. Andrews backs up, has plenty of time though with Encarnacion running, and the inning is over. But a 5-run 9th inning for the Indians. It's changed the game completely. Joey Gallo to lead it off for the night. Well, Rangers sending Joey Gallo, Elvis Andrus, and then Drew Robinson, depending on what Jeff Bannister wants to do, all against Brian Shaw, who moments ago probably was thinking about the postgame spread and what he might watch on the charter flight tonight. Had no clue he would be in this game.
No, absolutely not, and probably not even thinking about coming in a save situation either. You think about how that bullpen is built out there. Cody Allen is the closer. You would assume Andrew Miller is kind of the second closer, but it'll be Shaw that gets the opportunity tonight.
So here's Gallo. 0 for 2, but did have that walk. Right now, the Rangers need base runners, down by 3. Well, you love Gallo's power, but he has shown us some patience, some ability to work a count a little bit, and that's what they need right here. He takes a strike.
A little note on Francisco Lindor, became the 8th player in Indians history to homer from both sides of the plate in a game, and joining a pretty impressive list with Carlos Santana, Nick Swisher, Victor Martinez, Roberto Alomar, the great Eddie Murray, Tony Bernazard, and Carlos Baerga. Not a note that we were hoping to read tonight.
Certainly.
I stole that from one of the great statisticians. I almost said it right. Anthony Masterson at FS1.
Shaw working against Gallo, and it's 1-2.
Talked about Shaw. We saw him in his first appearance. Over 80% of what he throws is cutters. Not even to the same level as Tony Barnett, who throws a lot of cutters. It's the second most of relievers. The only guy that throws more cutters than Brian Shaw is the closer for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Kenley Jansen.
Well, so you know what's coming. Count stays 1-2. Of course, they knew it was coming for years. Same pitch.
That's
with
right.
Mariano Rivera, and it did not help.
And when you have a good one, what makes the cutter so difficult, why we've seen so many guys try to replicate what Mariano Rivera really put on the map. So real good natural cutter. Looks like a four-seam fastball coming in, and the break on it is late, like that one right there at 96 miles an hour without giving up velocity. There's movement, late movement, but not giving up much at all on the velo.
A strikeout of Gallo. Elvis Andrus now. Last time up, 7th inning. This is what he did. Now, he knew. And the Rangers have done very well in this series. They've used that long ball now 6 times. And he's had a good night tonight, 2 for 3. Not a surprise the way he has hit Indians pitching over the years. One and 1.
There's that cutter there, and you see even a little bit of downward action on it as well.
One out, 9th inning. After a 5-run top of the 9th, has given the Indians the lead. Cole Hamels had the start for the Rangers tonight. Pitched well. His first 3 innings perfect. Struck out 4 through 6. Andrews lifts this one high in the air, right side of the infield, and playable for Ramirez. 2 gone. It'll be in the hands of Drew Robinson.
We mentioned Drew getting his first big league at bat in his last one. Like I said, you always remember your first game, first at bat. An opportunity here now, though, as he comes in late. 2 at bats in his first game. Certainly would be great to see him get his first hit.
Left-hander got some pop in that bat. Now he hit in the 7th inning, but rolled out to first, so 0 for 1. He does swing the good bat, but can play anywhere on the infield, can play in the outfield. There's some real versatility with him, and he takes a strike. It's 1 and 1.
You know, one of the misconceptions that was always kind of the case with Mariano was that you would want to go to an opposite-handed hitter. Right, you think about lefties going up against a righty, and you see Brian Shaw as the righty. Actually, could be a lot tougher when you have a good cutter for the lefty to hit it, because that ball comes barreling in on the inside like that. You get a lot of those jam shots.
Yeah, a little one hopper taken care of by Lindor, and that's fitting, I suppose. It was Lindor who hit the grand slam to decide this game. Indians steal one and break some hearts tonight here in Arlington. 9-6 the final score. All right, coming up next on Rangers Live, John Radigan, Mark McLemore. There'll be player and coach interviews, analysis and opinions, stats and highlights. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, this is Dave Raymond saying good night from the booth here in Arlington. 9-6 our final score.